We're live.
It's
Hello,
too late
everybody,
to ask questions.
everybody. Hello, welcome to the one and only, the hardest, the fastest, the strongest, definitely the only copywriting content source on the entire internet. Weirdly, but also curiously not the best.
No.
Anyway, welcome to Copy That. We have me, Sean. We have Alex. We have Lindsay, and we have Rod coming in shortly. This is going to be a celebratory stream where for the next 2 hours, we are just going to be like publicly weird and answer all of your copywriting questions. And so if you want to like ask things like, how does one do a copies? This is the stream for you. If your question is like, oh, hey, like I don't really want to be a copywriter. I just want to make hot, nasty money. Well, we'll answer those questions too. Mm-hmm. Either way, Alex, Lindsay, how are you guys?
Lindsay, please go first.
I'm so excited for this. I am excited to sit down with you guys and have a lot of fun. And, I'm obviously excited about the fact that we've hit 40,000 on YouTube. And I feel like there's some subtle messaging going on here. Like love. I feel like that wants to be Love Sean's studio.
No. Love soon. So this person has been soon like stitched like haphazardly with love, but is also a studio.
I mean, it's that to be fair, that could be Sean because Sean spells Sean wrong.
Yes.
Sean spells it scene.
It's true. My wife doesn't even call me Sean. She calls me Ocean.
Oh, is that sweet or is there some kind of dark undertones to that?
It's, you know what? I'm not going to say what it is because that would get us canceled.
Oh, good. Into our 40,000 subscriber celebratory stream. I'm good. I'm good, though. It's been a busy day. I've been training and talking to salespeople today. I've been doing a big sale today. I have not done any marketing today. Like today has just been straight up like dirty sales, which has been fantastic and very fun, but I am very tired now because I was like on a sales call, multiple sales calls for like 2 hours trying to get a deal in, which is coming in. So all good.
Great. Congrats.
Double celebration.
One of the best lessons I ever learned about sales, especially B2B sales, was just like understanding, if you're on the phone with somebody, like just understanding what that person is like in terms of the personality. And really like in any sort of sales situations, there's only like a handful of different ways that people normally conduct themselves. Like there's the person who's just like, they want logic. So if you're selling like oscilloscopes and stuff like that, like you have to appeal to their like sense of logic. Like if they're, some people are just like your sort of mom and pops and they typically want like to tell you their story. And the best way to close a sale is to just let it happen to you. And like, there's only a handful of situations like that, but usually like you can just kind of close a sale by sort of like pocketing people in those four categories.
Yeah, I think you have to know when to change up. Something that I find works pretty well across all of those, and what is my natural selling style is like, which I call like meta selling. Rod! Hello. Forget this story. Hey, Rod.
How's it going? Hello.
God, dude, you're looking handsome.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, you look great.
I like to think I look great every day, but I appreciate the specific focus in my appearance today.
Yeah, effectively what we're saying is you don't look great most days, but you look great today, so we've outed you on it. Hey, Rod. So I can't even remember what we were talking about now. I was just so excited.
Like how to categorize people in a sales situation.
Yes, one thing that I find works well consistently across basically any person, and it is I found just has become my natural way of selling, is what I just call like meta selling. So you basically front up immediately that you go, look, we know this is a sales situation. You know that I'm trying to get the best like deal for the business. I know you want the best deal for you. I'm not going to sit here and like just talk to you about like this and this and this. I just want to just ask you like, what is it that you want? And I'm going to see if I can fit that in best for you. That just, I think people just appreciate that. And it tends to work quite well. There's like been a couple times where I think people have kind of reacted a bit like, ugh, like almost like I'm trying to do a trick on them by saying that, which I understand. But it works so well. I think people just appreciate you not just setting like rambling off features. I can't remember. I should learn the names of the people who I've learned from, but there was a guy, I can't even remember, I think a copywriter told me about him, one of the greats, and it was a guy who was like the advisor to a bunch of presidents in the 60s. And he just said, it might have been a book, I can't remember. I need to get better at anecdotes. He just said the trick to selling is finding out what people want and then showing them how to get it. And like that's really stuck with me. And you don't need to complicate it. You can do tactics, and would still recommend you learn some of them. But yeah, I think you're so right, Sean. There's only a few ways really that you can go about things.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know if you guys read it, but I actually did the meta selling technique in the Copy That Black Friday bundle copy that I wrote for everybody.
Yeah.
Where I basically was just like, listen, let's be real. Like, I'm selling a thing, and you're only reading this because you're interested in possibly buying a thing. So, like, let's be real about like what this is all about. So
that is exactly it. And there's so many. And I was saying this today with the sales team. Like I was saying, there's so many crossovers between copywriting and sales because it's just persuasion. Like, the whole difference and relevance thing that I always go on about. Like, it's just use it for sales, like cold pitching over a phone. It's the same thing. Anyway, what are we doing?
There you go, Alex.
Hey, yes, it worked. And also I've just seen this question, which is what's Alex wearing. I'm wearing a Warhammer 40k outfit because I was so excited. I knew this. I've known this was coming for about 7,000 subscribers now. I was like, when we get to 40k, I'm gonna do a joke about it.
The only reason why we tried to grow the business and try to grow this stuff out was so that Alex could have this moment that you were watching right now.
A bunch of fucking nerds in the show.
It's not. We're not nerds. We get laid a lot.
It doesn't stop you from being a nerd.
Okay, all right, but we won't talk about 40k this stream unless someone asks a question, because it's a Q&A stream. So if someone asks a question,
we will literally answer any question within reason.
Okay, are we just starting from the top and just going through any question that people ask?
I've already scrolled up to the top, but I mean, I've asked Lindsay how she's doing. I've asked you how you're doing. Rod, how are you doing?
Doing great. Back in the office after New Year's break, mostly still alive.
Shut up, you're
can't ask for much more. Well, I mean, mostly still alive after break.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to Vegas for a couple days, and it was a lot of drinking, but we're back. We're recovered. We're hydrated.
Nice.
We're happy.
I still remember the Copy That episode, like way back, where you basically just did a presentation slideshow of like, this is how Vegas advertises to people.
It was so interesting too, because if you guys go back on our YouTube channel, it's way back there somewhere. I think it's titled something about Vegas, so it's pretty easy to find. But more or less, I just went in depth about how each of the different slot machines or different parts of the casinos were designed to kind of draw your attention, to solicit your money, basically, in a bunch of different ways. And so it was really interesting going back this time. This was maybe last year or the year before last, at the previous version, and seeing how much it had changed. Because I feel like I saw way fewer branded slot machines and, I guess, gambling machines in general. And so I have no idea why that was, but I'd be curious to talk to somebody in the industry and see what they're seeing or how things have changed, I guess, in the couple of years since they've been recovered from COVID.
That'd be such an interesting job. Slot machine sales. Like, how do you sell licensing deals for slot machines? Like, I would love to be that person.
It's weird. Funnily enough, I was walking where I live, and there's a betting shop in the city center, and I went past it, and outside they had a sign, and it said like new for January, and it was just like 3 slot games, and it was like Zeus's Return. I don't know when Zeus returns, but Zeus's Return and like Viking Crush or whatever. And I was just like, it's weird because obviously I just walk past that every day, but someone who is into gambling or dare I say has a gambling problem, I guess sees those and goes, new chance to win. Like, I don't think it matters what it is, right? Is it just I would love for you to do a rerun on that video, Rod.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could have a copyright or copy that sponsored trip to Vegas. All 4 of us can go.
Well, Rod, I have to go to Japan again for a number of weeks in June. Why don't you come with me and we'll go to film the episode from a pachinko parlor?
That sounds like a great idea.
All right, let's do it.
Fantastic. Your test worked. Thank you, Shady Cakes, for $2.
We got a test donation. Thank you. Ooh, potato.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, yes, that's how you get our attention. You give us money.
Give us money. Oh, all right.
Word Nerd says, I think slot machine deals are really only done for highly emotional topics. I read a thing on the art of creating addictive gambling.
That's cool.
Well, highly emotional
Yeah.
topics. So like Game of Thrones slot machines?
Where's my father's love slot machine? Like, I don't know if that would work.
Am I going to fuck up my children's slot machine?
I got to win the next one so I can provide for the college fund, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great.
My children don't want a quitter slot machine.
Okay, let's start answering real questions now, because otherwise this will just be
questions about real copywriting. Let's see. 2 o'clock my area. So this person has a few, like, I've read a few books that say big companies and good copywriters have researched which stuff works and which doesn't. For example, which kind of headline, which kind of body structure, font type. Is there any way for me to find their research, companies and individuals? Is there any way for me to find the research that companies and individuals have conducted to know which kind of stuff will work in copy? Because it will save a lot of time for me, and I can earn without having to do any research by myself.
I always point people to one place, which I really like. There's the organic method that I think everyone else will talk about, which I'll let you guys describe about ad libraries and stuff like that. There's one specific resource so you can have a really, really actionable piece of advice. Google released, this was a couple of years ago now, but they released what were kind of like secret UI UX internal documents that they sent to their marketing teams. And I'm pretty sure if you just type in Google UI UX, so type in on Google UI UX secret playbooks, I think.
Yeah, Google UX playbook.
UX playbook, there we go.
Yeah.
So it's all about user experience, not specifically about copywriting necessarily, but that has a ton of great stuff in it across industries, and it talks about like where people make the best decisions and like phone screens versus desktop screens, and where CTAs tend to do best, and like what emails being sent tend to do best, that kind of stuff. Because it talks about the whole UX journey. So if you want like one solid place to start, so it gives you a bit more of an understanding of what's working just in marketing generally, I would say go and have a search for those things.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I am doubly minded about this question. If you want an easy source of tactics to steal so that you can save time and make $1 million and things like that, go to Steal Our Winners. You know, Rich Sheffrin, Steal Our Winners. Like it is a repository of like everything that marketers are doing in various capacities in various industries that is different from everybody else, and that makes them a lot of money. Now, here's the thing that I have learned over my 10 years as a marketer and copywriter. There are 3 levels to this: principles, strategies, and tactics. Principles, they never change. Like, for example, establish reciprocity, establish authority, build unity, yada, yada, yada. The stuff you'll read in Robert Cialdini's Influence, or the stuff that you'll read in Aristotle's Rhetoric. You know, like this stuff literally has not changed ever. And then there are strategies, which are implementations of those principles. Like, for example, using email to reach out to your customers is a strategy. And then once you get a little bit more narrow than that, there are specific tactics. Like, for example, what kind of subject lines are working for a particular list at a given moment. Now, here's the thing. Most companies, when they do this kind of research, confuse tactics, these ever-changing, mutable things that work really well for a year, maybe 2, with strategies and principles. And what you want to be learning at the beginning of your copywriting journey are the principles and the broad strategies that people are generally employing. Because once you learn the strategies, then you can position yourself as a strategist for that particular thing and make all the money. But most people sort of like get caught up. They want blueprints and like cheat sheets and stuff like that. And those are all very tactical. And I gotta reiterate this. Tactics change constantly. They're changing constantly because once somebody learns a tactic and start using a tactic, everybody else starts using the same tactics. And then the tactics stop working so well because everybody's doing the same freaking things. And so I want to answer this question by saying you're asking the wrong questions because you're looking for a shortcut to get access to the research on what tactics are working right now. When the underlying principle that you should have in your brain is, well, I need to be the one who's in charge of finding what's going to work next, not now.
Yeah. And I think also it's hard to get access to the effective tactics. By the time you are seeing something online, you're seeing something everywhere in the Google ad library, everyone's probably doing it. And so you're kind of already at the point at which you should be looking for the next thing. And so I think Google Ad Library is a really powerful tool to study and learn to see how this stuff plays out in the real world, but it should not necessarily be your blueprint for best practices going forward because it's already going to be a little bit saturated by the time you start applying it.
And yeah, that's why I answered with the Google thing, because I knew that our answer was going to be, don't do that. You're asking the wrong question. Lindsay, is there anything?
Yeah, no, I don't have anything really to add to that, except that I appreciate you guys. Your first response to this question was to provide a genuinely helpful answer. My first response to this question was to recoil, because I feel like I interpreted it more as this person, is kind of looking for a little bit of an easy button, and I understand that that desire, especially for people who are new and just getting started. It is natural to think, man, there's so much to learn, and it would just be so nice if I could. You feel like you need to get to just baseline, and you kind of just need somebody to dump everything, the foundation in your brain, so that you can move from there. But I don't have anything to add, Sean. I think you said it perfectly by distinguishing what are the principles versus what are the tactics. And, the point that I wanted to make was that tactics change all the time. And when you're reading these like super popular resources and guides online that the algorithms have, percolated to the top. Everybody is reading those. Everybody's doing them. Those are, generic guides by the time you're reading them. And the tactics that you're probably using are no longer new and feel different, and they've, probably become overused. And so really, at the beginning of your journey, just to iterate, the most important thing you can be doing is internalizing the principles, and then looking for opportunities, seeing what people are doing and how you can put a slight twist on that is somewhat different. So that's the only thing that I would add.
I want to comment on part of what you were saying there, Lindsay, because I've had a lot, like internally, I often have that same response to that feeling you get where someone is like, they're asking for like the easy answer.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm trying to get a lot better at this year, and I realized recently, is like, I think one of the biggest reasons that many people, and especially beginners, just want the blueprint, they just want to know what to do, is because when you're just starting out, it's hard to understand how difficult these topics are. And so from our position, we've seen like the different waves of strategies and tactics and stuff go by, whatever. And so we understand, you could have something that's working right now, but copying somebody else isn't necessarily that's not what you should be aiming for in the long run. But if you're just starting out and you haven't seen anything really, it's so easy to focus on, I just have to do this. Just write an email and I'll make, $10K a month. How hard could it be? And so while those people definitely need to get the experience and start doing enough work so that they come to understand that it might be that simple, but the big picture is not that simple. I think something that I could do better is like make sure that we're pushing people towards understanding, like, yes, the work you have to do right now is really simple, but it's in preparation so that you can come to understand the much more complex, much bigger picture down the line.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's totally natural. I often have those same thoughts and feelings.
Oh yeah. Whenever I have like David Goggins who lives in the back of my mind, and whenever he sees like, John, you're clearly trying to take the easy way out on this. Stop it. Get hard, MFer. And so I try to listen to David Goggins in my head as often as possible. Just not when it's going to hurt me. Have I told you guys my theory about why I think so many people are looking for like blueprints and stuff like that? Aside from the fact that it offers like an easy and certain sort of pathway forward, but like in copywriting in particular, do you want to know why my theory about this? So for most of our audience, like 30 to 40% of them are younger than 20 years old. Like, it's not a majority, but it's a plurality in terms of age demographics. And what have they experienced their entire life up to this point? All knowledge to them is structured in a hierarchical, step-by-step fashion. You go to grade 1, then you go to grade 2, then you go to grade 3, and that's the way the world has been for you. But that's not the way the world is. You know, the copywriting and most education, most skills are not a ladder. It's a sandbox. And what is the best way to learn in the sandbox? Well, to play and to sort of like let yourself explore a little bit. But again, nobody really has those skills coming out of like grade school, like coming out of K through 12 or whatever it is they have in England. I don't know, the Pauper House, whatever.
Exactly that. But I agree with that. But that's also why I agree with Rod's point. I think that because when I think back to how I learned copywriting, I definitely started with a bit of structure, and I went down like the acronym route. You know, like I learned acronyms, and I was like, oh, like PAS, like okay, that makes sense to me. And it was only through that making sense to me, and then having other people like yourself, Sean, come and say, it's great you understand like that. Now break that apart. I still remember this was like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I still remember I was being paid as a copywriter at that point. But I don't feel like I truly understood copywriting until about 3 years ago, like fully. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Which was when I think we were doing you were doing an installment of which sales letter bombed and which one didn't bomb but didn't do so well that they decided to stop running it, or whatever it was called. And I still remember like you were showing these 2 sales letters. I was looking at them, and as I was looking at them, I was thinking, okay, like I need to look at the headline first, then I need to look at the subheads, then I need to look at the bullets, then I need to look at the copy. And I was just looking at these individual elements, and I was judging them individually, one by one, in a structured way. Like, does this subhead make sense by itself? Like, does this headline good? Is this word impactful? And I was just thinking, I remember, and I got it wrong because I said to you, I was like, or I said to like the stream, I was like, oh, I think it's number 2 because it's the subheads are more like intriguing, like it's formatted in a nicer way. I was looking at all these things individually, and it wasn't. It was number 1. And you said it's just because it's a better idea. And like that concept of like judging an idea against an idea is so alien when you're just thinking about it in a structured way, because you can't really score points against an idea. You just have to recognize like like that's new. It's different. It's linking 2 concepts that people may understand already and in a way they haven't thought about before. It's very hard to tick box that. So I definitely think that having a structured understanding of copywriting to begin with, which is why I'm a fan of the stages of awareness initially, which obviously we've debated before, but then breaking, well, not debated. Okay, I wipe the floor with you. Then breaking that apart and saying, hey, now you understand that, realize you don't actually need to understand it. I think that is a great approach to copywriting.
Yeah. I feel like we could restructure our free course so it's like all about like providing those like principles and fundamentals for, like first, like here's how to get access to where you can learn the basics and fundamentals, and then like at the end sort of like start to deconstruct and pull apart and be like, all right, but here's where these things sort of fall apart. That would be fun for me, but I have a feeling that if we didn't focus 90% of the time on outreach, we would lose most of the audience.
Certainly. Man, I've just seen that as well. And that should have that should have an ellipsis between lunch and Rod. What's for lunch? Rod?
I am for lunch. I am the lunch, as they say.
What is for lunch,
poke.
Rod? Mini? You're playing a game? What?
No, it's a Pokeball.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Why do you work at such a cool place?
I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me quit and get a new job.
You annoy me.
I'll go be
so
British or
jealous.
something. I'm sure that
What?
Well, Rod,
Okay.
good for you. Copy that as hiring.
Okay, well,
Would you like to be a co-owner?
I would actually. Thank you.
Oh, probably.
We'll give you 10%.
Mhm.
Okay,
Shall
that
we
was
have
one
more
question,
questions?
guys. Yeah.
Who's
All right,
like
we
at the
got
top of
another.
it?
We have more questions. This is officially
Okay.
the second question of this
Oh,
stream.
God.
Oh dear God.
Do you recommend doing free work for first clients to get a testimonial?
Yes, if you want one-word answers. The answer is actually it depends, but like there is nothing wrong with doing free work to grind a bit, to get experience, to get some good cred. That free work may approach you in many, many different ways. There's not like one perfect way to get free work. You can go to family, friends, businesses, say, hey, I'll do this. And if it works, pay me. Hey, I'll just do this for free because I think I really want to help you. I love what you're doing. Charities are great for that. And like local, like non-profits are great for that. And just to have some published work out there. So I'd say yes, personally.
I'd say yes if you can afford it. If you
That's
cannot
another thing,
pay rent this month, go get some work that will help you pay rent. If you can't find any copy work, writing work that will let you do that, then like go do something else for a little bit.
That's also another thing. Don't quit your job to do copywriting before you have money there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. If listen, one of the things that I constantly talk about is like, if you are desperate for money and you need this copywriting thing to work, otherwise your family's going to starve. Oh boy, no, don't do this. The only people that I know who have succeeded with that already had experience like in sales and writing. Like Elise and Warren, I think, are the only two that really pulled that off. But everybody else, like the moment you get into the freelancer cycle, it's very feast and famine, kill or be killed, that sort of thing. When it comes to doing free work, like to get a testimonial, to get more work, I'm kind of against it, but also like I've seen people who have done it, and so like I don't care. It's one of those things where it's like going back to what I was saying about like learning the principles. One of the principles is just test stuff. Like if it works, it works. You know,
it's not a silver bullet to get more work, but like that. But if you know, like, hey, if you're there and you're like, God, I really want some testimonials to show people, or I really want to show that I've done something before, then do some free work. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I'd say too, don't do it for the testimonial. Do it so you have the experience of working. Testimonial is not going to change your life.
Yeah. And also, like, your goal should not be the testimonial. Your goal should be like to get your foot in the door and then do such good work that this person's just like, oh my God, please let me keep paying you.
Correct. You can ask for a payment and still get a testimonial, presumably, if your work is top notch and you're planning on going above and beyond. I don't know. I'm a little bit against it. I think there's a big perceived value element there. Anybody who is willing to just work for free for a single testimonial, I think if, it sometimes more often than not, it sends a little bit of a bad message to the client you're trying out. But, that said, I've done it. I know people who do it. And so if you're in a position where you can do it, and you're just kind of starting up and you have another stream of income, I think that's okay. But do it because more from like a different position, not just like I'm trying to get something from you. I'm doing it because I genuinely want to help your business. I think if you approach it with that attitude, you'll have more success than kind of going hat in hand. Hey, I'm hoping for a little bit of a testimonial. It's like, come on.
Yeah. My justification is always, hey, I like your business. I kind of want to do something. If it works out, great.
Yeah.
Right. Next cue.
Opinions on cash vertising. It's fine.
I
enjoyed reading it.
It's been so long since I read that.
Yeah. Of all the copywriting books that I've read, it's one of them.
Cool.
Some people swear by it, but
Exactly.
This is not a Lindsay, Rod. Do you guys have opinions on Cashvertising?
Haven't read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not read it.
Yep. So there you go. Opinions on Cashvertising. It's a book. it's like I would classify it in the top decile of copywriting books out there. There you go. This is not a question, but I feel like this is something worth talking about.
Theater nerds, maybe?
It's just obviously true.
It depends on the kind of nerd.
You
Theater
are-
nerds, absolutely. Board game nerds, probably not.
I would argue that goths are nerds in a way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is word nerd. It seems like there's some nerd, and you're talking about nerds. Like, there's some bias there. There's some bias there.
It's a humble brag. Okay, we see you.
But related.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Alex, what is your favorite Warhammer army?
How long do you want this answer to be?
Sure.
Thousand Suns. There we go. Moving on, which is what this is. But this is the 30k version, not the 40k version.
Rod, are you still Team Tau?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the most boring army. Like you slagged off Rob Halford, and you said I couldn't high five. So there, your Warhammer army is bad.
You objectively couldn't.
That's not true.
I was there. I'm a witness. Alex does not know how to high five.
I was also steamingly drunk, as I recall, or don't recall.
But it's like riding a bike. It shouldn't matter if you're drunk or not.
Okay, next time you're gonna ride a bike drunk, Rod, and we're gonna see if that holds up.
Okay.
Thousand Suns. Moving on.
We really do need to have like the next copy that like get together be in Florida, because like I would feel terrible ripping Lindsay away from her children. I have a feeling that she and her husband like are not like me. They don't want to drive all the way to Baltimore with 3 kids. But me, like I'll do that shit every day. So like, I'll just uproot my family and go to Florida. So let's do that.
You were so hardcore.
I don't know about that. All right. Where are you guys from?
Good question.
I live in Baltimore. I'm originally from Los Angeles.
I live in Portland, Oregon, not Maine.
No.
I live in Florida. I'm originally from Iowa.
I don't know if you'll know the town I was born in, so I might not bother saying it. I'm from England. How offensive is that you guys get to name like the states and cities and like no one will know? Mine.
You're like basically next to London, right? That's like how
generally know what
most
London
people understand it.
I can get to London for like within an hour on the train. I live in Cambridge now, which people do know actually. People know Cambridge.
Yeah,
people don't know Watford though.
Okay, Lindsay, is Iowa part of the Midwest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of the Midwest. It's technically the most central, well, the Midwestern state.
She has a lot of Midwestern pride, and she's quelling that right now.
Would you consider Missouri the Midwest?
Yes.
Okay. I would count Iowa. I don't know if I'd count Missouri. They're like borderline for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They're real close to the south. They're pretty far west.
What are the areas of the U.S.? How do you define? Is it like South, Midwest? What are the big regions?
New England, Appalachia, the South, the Midwest, and the West,
and Florida.
What is?
Florida. Florida is weirdly its own category.
Yeah, it is.
What is Appalachia? What?
Like the region I'm in.
It's like there's like a mountain range.
Yeah,
Appalachia.
DC, Virginia, West Virginia, those states.
There's a mountain chain called the Appalachian Mountains that goes down, like that's sort of part of the.
You live in a region called Appalachia.
Yeah,
it's not spelled like that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if you're having me on. Okay, I've never heard of that though. There we go.
No, we could get more granular, but those are the regions. Like demographically, you will encounter the most cultural differences between those 5-6 areas. So
cool. No, there we go. Thank you very much. Geography. Yeah. It's not copywriting.
Let's see. Most of my cold emails fall on deaf ears. Most of them are opened but barely replied to. What could be the problem?
Welcome to cold emailing.
Yeah,
Welcome to
that's
cold emailing.
the problem is you're sending cold emails.
Yeah.
Yep, that's normal. It is a numbers game. Cold emailing, cold calling. It's surely purely a numbers game, in my opinion.
Yeah. For me, like, all right. First off, your first problem is that you're cold emailing. Like, the second problem is that you're looking at open rates. Like, open rates don't matter anymore. Like, ever since proxy servers became a thing, open rates are artificially inflated. So you could look at opens and be like, oh, they opened this thing, but they're not replying. No, a robot read the thing and then promptly put it into spam. Then, like, so you kind of have to assess, like, and I mentioned this in a previous stream, cold emails, it's copy. Like, the big mistake that a lot of people make when they are cold DMing or cold emailing people is that they kind of separate it in the brains from copy. But it's copy. You are the thing that you are selling. And so here's the common mistake that I see across all cold emails. 1, they're templated. 2, they aren't specific to the business or the people that are people are cold emailing. They haven't done any research or paid any attention to the person that they're actually reaching out to. And 3, they aren't doing a good enough job of selling themselves.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the 3 big issues that I see with cold emails all of the time.
And just to be a little bit more specific too, it is the selling yourself part. I see so many cold emails where it's like, hey, do you need an email writer? Hey, do you need a website? Hey, do you need whatever? And the answer to that question for that person may be yes. But the question you need to be answering is, why should they hire you to write it? And like, if that's not clear in your cold email, if there's no even hint of that, it's not going to be effective.
I've just linked. Go find this comment with this scraggly link. This is a whole 20-minute video we did on cold emails. It sums up. I love that video. 1, the thumbnail was brilliant. Kaylee outdid herself again. And number 2, like, it's got funny skit. And number 3, I think there's actually super good advice in it, and it says all my thoughts on it. I don't want to repeat too much, but basically be relevant and be different, and go and watch that video. If your cold emails are failing, go and watch that video.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. Something about slot machines. Sean, what happened to the live stream you did last week? I took it down. It's available on patreon.com/thecopythatshow. Wait, do we have a banner for that? I don't want to do the banner because I'll lose
I'll do it. I'll do it. What one are we doing? YouTube? Patreon?
Watch the Patreon. Why are we so bad at selling our own shit?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at YouTube here, and
oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, and so right now it's in the hands of our lovely, beautiful, sensual, sexual, but also recently was in a car accident, Noah. And he is going to edit that live stream down to something palatable and manageable and like more coherent. And then we're going to republish it for free for everybody. But the full extended thing with the slides and everything, yada, yada, that's on Patreon right now.
Is Noah okay?
He is okay. He's just a little rattled.
Oh, damn. Sorry, Noah. In lighter news, because I just want YouTube to find that thing. And I've just noticed the 5-hour video has just hit 750,000 views. So this is like a double celebration. So 40,000 subscribers, 750,000 views. There we go.
Nice. I love it. I'm looking forward to doing the sort of cornerstone pillars of copywriting videos that we've been thinking about. I've been vacillating between do we want to do like a 12-hour 4 courses that total up to 12 hours of content, or do we want to just break it up and be very strategic, learn this thing first, then learn this thing first, then learn this thing first?
I don't want to be strategic because that's boring. I want to put out 4 monster videos and be like, hey, we did 4 monster videos.
I love it.
Cool. I'll defer to the democracy. All right.
Let's see. Something about Taiwanese 7-Elevens from Maureen. Thank you. Let's see.
Okay.
Research. And let's see. I watched the 5-hour video and I'll watch it again. I see lots of copywriting content and it's in my brain, but I don't know how to implement it. If someone says write a copy, I just look at them because I don't know.
That is one of the reasons we want to come up with the videos that Sean that way just mentioned, because the 5-hour video is a ton of information, and like I like it, but it wasn't, I didn't plan for this many people to watch it. It wasn't done in the most like, hey, beginner friendly way as such. So like we want to break it down to make it very, very step by step, like, hey, here's what you should be doing, here are the things you should be looking at. So they'll be coming. I don't think we could answer that question roundly in this stream, because it requires so many facets. There's a lot to copywriting.
Yeah, but it's also, I think, fundamental point here is that copywriting doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Like, it is a part of a larger marketing strategy. And so the reason why you don't feel like you know how to implement it is because you aren't having a conversation with a marketer who's like, hey, this is a product we're selling. This is our strategy for selling it. And this is what we want to do. And so we need XYZ pieces to do that. That would bring a lot of clarity, and you would immediately know, okay, because you have the knowledge in your head, oh, that's that thing that John talked about, or the masterclass here. So that would kind of make everything go, kaboom, and you would get it. But without that context, of course you don't know how to implement it, because you're not plugged into an actual selling strategy or marketing strategy yet.
I have nothing to add to that. That's the biggest thing, which is like the thing that you're missing is context. Like once you have the context, like you will know exactly how to write a piece of copy, preferably. One of the things that I did on the stream last week was I specifically was like, okay, audience, tell me what, like any niche whatsoever, and I will go find a business. I'll show you how to research the business, and I'll show you how to write a practice piece that I could use to pitch to that business. I did that all on stream. It took me all of 30 minutes to go from not knowing what I was going to write about to identifying a business, identifying a hole in their marketing, like a problem that they have, and then making a piece of copy that could solve that problem. It took me less time than I was bullshitting on stream. Like, seriously.
That's not surprising.
Aww.
And so, like, really what you got to do is you got to understand, like, what you are making when you sit down to write a piece of copy is a piece of a larger puzzle. You're not writing a piece of copy and be like, oh, look at my copy. It is on display now for all to see and for all to buy from. No, it's all part. Again, this goes back to strategy. The use of copy is part of a strategy, and how, like, the different doodads and the context and the genre of that copy, that's all tactical. Like, there might be a day when businesses no longer need welcome email sequences, perhaps. I don't know when that day is going to come, but like that's just kind of a temporary thing. Like, go back 30 years ago, and if you said, oh, can I write a welcome sequence for your business? And they'd be like, the crack epidemic is going on, so you must clearly be on it.
Yeah. Literally the only thing that I would add is there's a reason that whenever we critique a piece of copy on stream, we always ask, like, okay, what's the context? Like, who's this going to? Like, what list is this? How did they get on the list? We always ask those questions, because otherwise, what's the point? It could be being sent to a completely different kind of audience. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's having something to write about, because all of a sudden it exists in the real world rather than this theoretical world. And even if you just know one piece of copywriting knowledge, for example, that you should, if someone already knows about the product, like, you should take some things as read. Like, you don't then need to reiterate the problem to them a load of times about, like, oh, why they might want this product. If they're already aware of the product, then you don't need to go all the way back to the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. If you just know that piece of copyright knowledge and you also have a real website in front of you, like, you can quite easily go, oh, they're not doing that. Like Sean just said, he identified a problem. Could have been as simple as that. Could have been much deeper. Could have been any number of things. Know a bit of copyright knowledge, use a real world thing, and all of a sudden you go, okay, I can improve this even by 1% just by changing this thing.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with everything you guys all just said. There's also a question of maybe this person doesn't know how to write a piece of copy, in which case they could just go to here,
he's
new banner,
Yes.
copythatshow.com/how to start copywriting, and you'll get all the answers.
Wait, did you mean YouTube?
No.
There we go.
Because we have
Okay.
we have a whole
I think
guide
we
that's
should
literally.
No, I think he.
Oh.
Hang on. Wait, the fix is that us?
No, and we need to
No.
delete that.
Yeah. Sorry, the fix. I mean, that's free advertising.
Yeah, pretty much.
He should pay us for that.
Check,
Glenn.
please.
Okay, next question.
I am currently 17, turning 18 in 2 months. During those 2 months, what can I do to improve as much as possible before I go onto Upwork? Currently working on getting my portfolio copy critiqued.
Great.
That's
Keep
a good
writing.
question.
Keep reading. Like
Yeah.
like what you can do better to get better between now and when you turn 18 is the same thing you can do to get better every single day for the rest of your life. Nothing will change between now and then. So the way you intend to study and improve as a copywriter when you're working, it should be the way you're doing that now.
I'm going to approach this from a sport specificity approach. Lindsay is
Okay.
going to know what I'm talking about, which is like if you are like training for Olympic weightlifting, you want to program front squats in there. But like for most people on the planet, don't do fucking front squats. Like that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't transfer over to literally any other skill. Alex just did a big long blank and was like, God damn it, Sean. Why with these analogies?
I was just like, I don't know what a front squat is. I'm going to Google that while you're explaining.
So here's the thing. You specifically want Upwork. So here's what, like, I've done my whole spiel. 25% of your day is on learning the skills, upskilling, yada yada. 50% of your day is on writing and practice. 25% of your day is on outreach stuff. So during that outreach percent of your day, go look up other people's profiles that have really, really high ratings and really, really good testimonials and break down their portfolio copy as though it were copy. Like actually study what's working for people and do it across different like niches and different kinds of copywriters and stuff like that. The other thing that you can do is just start like keeping a spreadsheet log of the kinds of businesses and the kinds of copy that businesses are asking people to write. Is it PPC? Is it blog posts? Is it articles? You're going to start to notice, well, it's a histogram pattern, but you're going to start to see that some stuff comes up more than others. You're, for example, going to see way more SEO articles than sales letters. Now, if you want to make money quickly, you are going to learn the kinds of copy that people want to pay money for. That's going to immediately set you off better than most of the people out there. So again, if Upwork is where you want to make your money, be specific about how you train and how you practice for that platform.
You should
my
do
opinion.
back squats.
Definitely do back squats. That it confers so many benefits. It boosts testosterone. It strengthens the posterior chain. Not as much as deadlifting, but like it, as far as like it's a trap workout if you do it right. Back squats are the best.
I haven't gone to front squats yet in starting strength, which is really good. Yeah. But anyway, we won't go into that right now.
So, Rod, would you like push back on anything that I just said in terms of like giving this person advice towards Upwork?
No.
The reason why I
not.
ask is because you have more experience on Upwork than I do.
No, I'd agree. And in retrospect, that is better advice than what I gave. My advice is good for just general upskilling, but given that you've not done Upwork before, learning Upwork and how that works and what people who are successful on there are doing to differentiate themselves and how they're applying or how they're putting their work on display is going to get you so far in terms of making those good first impressions and getting responses and jobs.
By the way, shout out Lindsay's sports science degree. When you do copywriting,
way more than I do. It's like
No.
it's completely dropped from my brain.
I think that's the best thing to do with any sort of like academic knowledge. Like the moment it stops being useful, just hit delete, select all, delete.
Totally.
Yeah. When you do copywriting, do you also do the email designs as well, or just the copy?
It totally depends. I did an email design like yesterday, not today. Yesterday, I did an email design and sent that out. that is because I wanted something done quickly, and putting it into the design queue of the company would have taken like a few days, and I wanted to get an email out, so I did that myself on HubSpot. But it completely depends on the relationship you have with your client, with the company you're at, with your own business. Like, it depends what their setup is. If they have a designer who already does all their emails, you won't have to design anything. You just give them copy, and you can give them notes on it if you want, and say, it depends. Yes, that's a good banner. Let's just leave that up for the whole stream. So short answer is it depends.
Yeah.
It's good to know
I
the
will
basics.
say this. So in small businesses, typically you will see a lot more cross-pollination, whereas like the person who writes the email is also the person who designs the email, but there's also typically more responsibilities related to like email marketing as opposed to email copywriting in general. What is the difference between an email copywriter and an email marketer? Well, an email copywriter writes email copy. An email marketer writes email copy, but also builds the list, manages the list health, like pays attention to deliverability, does data analytics, communicates with other parts of the marketing department. Like the email marketer does a lot. So for small businesses, typically like you'll have like one person wearing that whole hat. In larger businesses, that's a lot of stuff. And so you'll have an email team. Somebody who does the copy, somebody who does the design, somebody who does scheduling and the calendar. And there's a lot of like cross-pollination between different like segments of the marketing department.
Yeah.
Now here's a quick warning to all the go-getters like Alex out there. And I've definitely fallen into this trap. When you jump the queue and you're just like, I want this now, so I'll just do the work that this person is being paid to do now, you piss people off because people are very territorial about their jobs.
Don't listen to
so
him.
territorial.
Don't listen to him. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do listen to Sean. Do listen
And
to
so
Sean.
it's a trade-off. And like,
Stay in your lane. Don't stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly. Lynn, you know firsthand like what this is like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
also because they're gonna look at the work you did and think, oh, this is terrible. I can't have that go out and people think I did it.
I've had that before. Yeah.
This is a question about like email design. I will also distinguish between like email design that's simply for the sake of design and branding, and is this on brand? Does this template look nice? Is it eye appealing? Is it, whatever, versus like strategic design elements that directly tie into copywriting principles.
Like share a video or something.
Yeah, you can just button placement, put a video here, put an image here. This is what the image should say. This should be the headline of the image. Things like that, particular to emails. There are strategic things that are design elements, but that have a direct persuasion intent, as opposed to just design for the simple sake of, a subjective, this looks good, it's on brand, and so on and so forth. Sorry, screaming baby.
Yeah. No, and to be fair, like I'm in a position where I can do that because I own the department. So like, what are they gonna do? But I have had design. Having said that, a designer who just left, actually, we're still on very good terms. It wasn't because of that, but we were often not at odds, but like often I would just do things because it's like, we need this out quick. I want to jump on it, and then she would get annoyed because she's like, I don't want people thinking I did this because like the color's off and like that line doesn't look good there, and like it's just random. So I totally get that, and I had to like take my foot off the gas a little bit and be like, okay, I respect that. What I want and value isn't what everyone else necessarily wants and values. So yes, I think that's very smart advice. Yeah,
that's a whole kit and caboodle, and a lot of people, especially like working in freelance, they don't. If you know, and if you work with a large department of people, even if they don't take a lot of pride in their jobs, are still very territorial about their jobs.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, do they get mad? Like, there's so many politics that go into if you're a copywriter working with other people. And that's a whole, like, I don't want to tell stories about that kind of stuff because like they might watch this. Like, get very mad at me for talking about their political machinations and incompetence. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. how do I get confident in the value that I as a copywriter would provide?
Good question.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is imposter syndrome talking.
Here's a simple thought exercise. If you've done something already, like in the past, then take something you've already done and just ask, like, what would it have been if you hadn't have written it like that? You know, like, that's a good thing. And if you haven't written anything yet, just think about the difference in copy that, say, like, we critique on stream sometimes, and the difference between copy that we're showing as big examples. Like, if you're really going to sit there and think that there's no difference between those two, you're dead wrong. So clearly copy has an impact. So yeah, feel confident about it, and there's tons and tons of proof to back you up on it. Mm-hmm. You got this, Sneed McChuck. It's just his name. Don't laugh at that. That's just their name.
Sneed McChuck is a pretty funny name.
That's
I don't know if it's their real name, but
I sincerely hope it's not.
I hope so.
But if it is, your parents love you.
I Sneed McChuck. Okay, let's go next.
Well, I just
or more opinions.
Very quick. You, person watching this, are always going to have not a David Goggins in the back of your brain, but some other niggling little bit in the back of your brain that's always telling you that you're not good enough. Now, there are two things that you can do about it. You can listen to it, or tell that voice in your head to fuck the fuck off, because fuck that voice. Like, seriously, like, you can wake up, you can decide right now and say to yourself, I am the best copywriter on the planet. Now, here's the thing. You're going to apply to a job and you're going to say, I am actually the best copywriter on the planet. And if you flub that job, like, completely, just do terribly at that, you go, well, since I am the best copywriter on the planet, I am going to learn from that and apply that new knowledge to the next job that I do. And hey, guess what? Next job that I do, I've had mistakes before in the past, but I've learned from them. Who else does that? Nobody. The best copywriter on the planet does. I'm basically talking around fake it until you make it. Mm-hmm. And what you'll find is that once you make it, once you start seeing good results, that competence, the clear competence that's driven by data and your success in getting campaigns out and getting clients happy, stuff like that, it feeds into your confidence, and that confidence leads to more competence because you get more, at-bats, as they say. And then it just becomes this positive feedback loop. Everybody goes through that, but the only way to break out of the cycle of, like, imposter syndrome is for you to forcibly break out of that cycle and then just do it.
You do need to get into, like, a positive feedback reinforcement cycle, though, I do feel like. And I feel like it starts with any skill that you're learning, that you're building, copywriting, especially because it does have a steep learning curve. You do have to start with having a realistic sense of yourself and your own capabilities. If you're just starting out and you're already thinking about your next, massive check, your next $10,000 check, and you're just shooting for super, high level clients, it's going to feel overwhelming and scary. And so I think starting with having a realistic sense of your skills is a great starting point. But the great news is copywriting is relatively so unknown to most people, even most business owners, that even you can get a very solid baseline understanding very quickly. And where's our banner for our starter guide? Go through, like, our basic, manifesto starting guide. Go through the 5-hour course. That
one.
I love it.
I'm always gonna do that.
It's intentionally bad. And you'll know, you'll already be there. You'll know more than the majority of people about copywriting. And from there you just have to, like Sean said, get into start having a positive, feedback loop. Get some small wins, and that will start naturally building your self-confidence.
Yep. Next question. I have noticed the emails in my inbox that could do with improvement. I'd like to reach out and offer my services. What's the most polite and professional way to say, this is bad, let me fix it?
Also a good question.
That's a great one.
I have a whole thing for this. Now, I used to like making looms. Loom is just a software that records your face and records the screen, or just records the screen. The reason I like doing that is because it's more likely that people would click on that when they see that you've got their website, or yeah, usually their website or their email or something like up, something they recognize, because they're like, "Ooh, well, I want to see what this is right now." You don't have to do a video; like you can just message or email or whatever. Tends to work better when they are, I would say, smaller companies. They don't need to be like mom and pop shops. Oh, Rod.
Rod's he's looking for a power outlet. It's okay.
Oh, okay, good. Like scared. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like mom and pop shop type things, but I think anywhere where you can go directly to, you know, who the decision maker is. Any company where you can clearly see like, oh, this person clearly like heads up marketing, and it's not a multinational, right? So if they sit in that kind of, if you want to benchmark anywhere between kind of like 5 and 50 employees on LinkedIn, like if they've got a LinkedIn, or anything where they're clearly like a local business, or they have a few products that they're selling, and you know that they're not like a major name, they tend to be the best to reach out to for this kind of thing. I used to make a Loom audit, as I would call it, which was going through their website or their email sequence or whatever it was, and just say like, hey guys, or hey name, I would usually reference the person I was sending it to, and say, always start by complimenting the company, saying, I love the company, I bought this from here before, there must be a reason you're getting the email. So either you bought something, or you, even if you have to lie a little bit and just say like, oh, I was really interested in your products, so like I signed up to this list and this email came through. I'm actually a copywriter or a marketer. I tended to say marketer just because most people switch off when you say copywriter because they don't know what that is. So I just say I'm a marketer. And because I use your company, or because I like your company, I saw this email come through, and I thought it was like, it's great what you're doing. Love to give my opinion on it and see if there's something more we could do. Always that kind of yes and mentality, not saying, hey, this was bad, let me show you how to fix it. Just say, love what you're doing here. I think that we can improve this even more, and I'd love to just give you this for free. And then pick out the things that you've identified that could be improved. Always try and, like, you don't have to shit sandwich them, but you can just give them, like, say, oh, it's great that you're focusing on this thing, I just think that we should do it like this, or you could do this instead. And send that video to them. Sign off with a clear CTA, a clear like, this may be of no interest to you, which is absolutely fine, I'll just go on my way, but I think that you could be getting more sales through this, or more signups, or whatever it is you're auditing. So would love to have a chat. Does 2 p.m. like tomorrow work for you? Because I've got a slot free. Let me know. Send that and follow up. Keep following up. Emails, LinkedIn, phone numbers if you can get it. Whatever, wherever you can see them, like Facebook messages, just message them, follow up with that, and say, hey, did you see this? If they still don't reply, you can like just bullet point what your findings were. Following up is so key when you're a freelancer. But I'm now kind of getting away from the question, which was, how do I say this is bad, let's fix it? You say it like that. You say, love what you're trying to do, love the company, love the products, blah, blah, blah. Here's how I think we can go even further with this. Would love to help you with it if you're open to it. That was my approach, and it worked very well.
I was going to add a whole, it depends nuance, but I'm just going to leave it at that because that was a really good answer.
So Katie Louie, I hope that helps.
Hopefully. Yeah, I was going to go into like, well, there's the whole like, do you think that they're bad, but are they actually bad? Are you talking about like brands that like care about their copy versus brands that don't, because those exist too? Like, there's a whole like, multi-planar, multi-dimensional like sequence of things that you have to consider. But ultimately, like, the most practical advice was what this man here just gave you. So follow that. Yo, Sean, how did you personally transition into content writing, and what advice do you have for someone looking to enter this field or just learn content writing in general? So I started writing content when I was 17 years old. My mom wrote for a blog. I believe the blog was called monstersandcritics.com, did movie reviews and interviews and stuff like that. And so I just started writing for that. She kicked stuff my way, album reviews and concert reviews and things like that. And so I got a bunch of content writing gigs through the years, just writing for papers, writing for blogs, writing articles. Oh, Lindsay disappeared. And basically what I did over the years was just accumulate a bunch of experience. Got into college, paid for my way through with like writing gigs and stuff like that, also working in a restaurant. And so in 2015, 2015, I was actually doing outreach like on Craigslist, like getting content writing gigs for that, writing copy like that. I didn't know it was called copy at the time, but I was getting those kinds of gigs as a freelancer on Craigslist. And then in 2015, I got a job at a little place called Palm Beach Research Group. Lindsay was working there. I was a proofreader part-time. And like I got my work done very quickly and then was bored most of the time. And most of the other proofers were like, just like scrolling through Reddit or stuff like that. And so I was like, screw it. And so I started reading all the other newsletters that they were publishing. And I was like, oh my God, like this is just financial advice and like living well advice and lifestyle advice. And I was like, I can write that. I've done that. I know that. And so I just started doing it. And what I did, I basically just started pitching articles to managing editors, of which Lindsay was one. And then she was like, oh, this person's a young go-getter, and then pulled me out of the proofing pool. And within a few months, like I was like, hey, let me write this special report that we had to do. And that ingratiated me to Lindsay and Mark Ford. Lindsay was my boss at the time. And then, she got promoted and then I got promoted to her position. And then Mark Ford asked me to write a bunch of his stuff. And so I was writing content for like very quickly after that. But I had like 20 years of experience writing content and just getting good at a very specific niche where people like really want to like, how should I say? Like most people don't pay attention to their content. Like they don't put any like effort into the quality of it. It's very paint by the numbers, especially if it's SEO stuff. But you can like get really good and make really good SEO content if you know how to write well and can put together good content. But yeah, so it was just a lot of experience, a lot of reading, a lot of experience. Lindsay, I just told the story of how you pulled me out of the proofing pool. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. No, I heard. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times in the fishbowl.
Oh, the fishbowl. But yeah, content writing. My advice is to just find like learn it broad, get a lot of experience, read a lot of content, figure out ways that you can improve it and put your own personal stamp on it. And then eventually over time niche down to something where like the content is more valued than not. Whereas most businesses don't value content very much.
Sean and I, and we will get this done, but we are doing, we need to put out our self-critiquing masterclass. But I would also say that second as a content writing class.
Yeah.
Do that class and you'll have a pretty solid foundation of good content writing.
We've had over 5 hours of content and we've written a whole book like about it.
Yeah.
That we have not released yet.
Yeah.
Like we've been working on it for over like a year at this point.
Yeah. We need to just put it out.
We should just put it out and then just gradually improve it like all of our other stuff.
I know.
All right. So what industry are you looking at right now to learn new things for your niches? Oh, I have an answer for this.
Me too.
Same.
Who wants to go first?
You go first.
Yeah, you're excited, Sean. Go on.
You sound excited.
I have a potential freelance client that I'm speaking to next week in the fitness niche. And so she's looking for basically full funnel, like construction design, sales letter, the whole kit and caboodle online course stuff. And I was like, like the one niche that I really have not written for that I've always wanted to write for is fitness. And so I'm doing that.
It'd be such a good one for you.
Huh?
It'd be so good for you. You know so much about it.
I do be a nerd like that. So maybe I'll have the curse of knowledge and the copy will be really bad and it'll fail. God.
Don't scare him, Rod.
Now I'm in my head about it, Rod.
I look forward to how good or bad it is.
Oh no. I think it'll be good.
We'll see.
I can take this. So I'm learning from right now. Another industry is the takeaway industry, or the fast food delivery industry, if you like. So I reason being is because I predominantly work in medicine and healthcare at the moment, and one of the things we're doing is partnering with I can just say with partnering with Uber to do like quick delivery of prescriptions and medications and stuff like that. Super exciting. It's not a common thing. It's meant to be like quick delivery. And one thing I really want to know and understand is when you order takeaway food from an app, there's always like a premium of like $5 on top of it, right? That you add. And my gut tells me that medicine, like that is boring, it's not going to have that same pull. It's like people love food and they're lazy, so they'll sit at home and they will order like, oh, $5 for instead of going out to get something, I'll get that in. I'm trying to learn what they actually do to apply that. How do they overcome that obstacle in the first place? Because I know for a fact that when Takeaway started offering that via mobile apps, the uptake wasn't as quick as you thought it might be, because people were initially like, oh man, I don't want to I really don't want to pay that extra money. I may as well just go out and get it. So I'm trying to learn from that, like what tactics, offers, etc. they use to get people to start using the apps. That's super interesting to me at the moment. So that is what I'm learning from.
That's interesting.
Thanks.
I like that.
Sorry, now I'm thinking about that problem of like how you get people on the apps. I mean,
it's for me, it's if a problem is bad enough, obviously people will pay more money for it. Like that's obvious. You know, Lindsay, we were talking about, you've been ill. We were speaking about this, like just, what you would have done to like get that medicine you needed straight away. It's for the boring medicines, the like recurring medicines, the repeat prescription medicines, which people like, it's just part of their life. And they're like, oh, well, I don't want to pay an extra. Why would I pay an extra, $10 a month to get that delivered? It's those kind of questions. And that's something that obviously fast food doesn't tackle, because when you're getting fast food, it's because you want to get fast food. You're not really getting it because, So it'd be interesting moving that over to paying a premium for, and if that's something we have to do, if we put it into like a subscription amount, if it's per order. Anyway, so that's what I'm learning for. Not just for the copy, but just for generally overcoming that problem.
Mm-hmm.
My gut tells me that a percentage of the delivery, just as like handling fee, would probably do better than like a flat dollar fee.
You may be right, and it's a hard thing, because with medicines, the point to which a percentage becomes worthwhile, if the medicine is only like a few dollars, and in the UK it's subsidized by the NHS, like that becomes difficult to say, well, do we put a flat fee? Do we do it in like tax bracket system? Anyway, there we go.
That's super cool.
I wish we could just talk for the next 2 hours about that.
That's like a real
please, let's
marketing problem.
We could, Sean, I feel like my answer you're going to be really interested in too. So Sean and I are both in financial publishing, and so what I am trying to learn a little bit right now is at the intersection of like AI tools, which are changing rapidly, and the publishing business. The publishing business is expansive. It involves a lot of marketing tools and platforms and different things that you have to string together. And I have experience in building a lot of different types of like subscription-based businesses and companies. And I know tools to kind of get off the ground quickly. But what I am researching right now and trying to figure out, it's kind of hard because I don't really quite know what they look like yet, because they're like being created now. For example, I want a tool like an AI that I can train, like what we know ChatGPT does, that I can train on audio, like hours and hours and hours and hours of audio, that then I can feed a script to, that will recite that back to me in a specific voice of a guru, for example, so that I can create podcasts on the spot without having my guru actually have to sit down and, read every issue, or that I have to, clean up every issue to be more in spoken form, because a lot of times how we write is not how we speak. So, to turn, for example, like a daily newsletter into a podcast, I would have to take the issue, I'd have to clean it up to be more of a script so that it's more easily read out loud verbally, and then I would have to pass it to the analyst who would, the guru, who would then have to take the time to read it and all of that. And then we would have to take that, upload it, and then we have to send it to an editor. And then, the editor would have to take it and splice it and cut it and make sure it sounds good, and then, add in. So this is like the perfect job for a basic AI, like a generative AI to, hear hours and hours, ingest that, this is what the guru sounds like, and then be able to create some sort of voice imprint, and then, read a basic script, and we go from there. So I think that like there are tools that are literally being created right now for publishing businesses. And so that's one, and then that kind of morphs into other like generative AI tools for social media and things like that. And so I recently launched, helped launch a very small financial publishing firm right now. And we're trying, it's a small team, and like myself and, one other person. And so we're limited by the hours and the time that we have in a given day for what we can do. And so I am just looking at automation tools that can get me really good quality iterations of what we're already putting out for social media and other acquisition channels and so on and so forth. So if anybody knows of anything that's kind of like on the cutting edge of publishing tools, I would love to hear about it.
Yep.
That is cool.
Send a message or write into us. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your answer to this?
What have you been learning
That's
from?
my answer. Okay, so right now I'm really excited about, interested in entertainment. I think in pretty much every copywriting niche, there's an extent to which we've like felt the gravitational forces of content, quote unquote, whether that's like Instagram content, TikTok, whatever, and just an increasing awareness of how users and audiences are gravitating towards short form content styles, or just like more like micro stuff. And I'm interested in that, not so much from like a, hey, we need to make everything short form perspective, but more so like we've had this gigantic entertainment conglomerate industry, like Entertainment Tonight, for example, for decades and decades and decades. And that was like how people used to like engage with like what was happening. And one thing I've noticed is like, I see lots of like micro cultures or communities online right now around like influencers and stuff like that, that almost like the way people talk about those people is very similar to the way that people used to talk about like celebrity gossip. And so I am trying to learn more about how you can like cultivate that in audiences to like increase their engagement with content or advertising more generally that we're making, especially for like a big brand like Nike. Like people like Nike stuff, but Nike's so big that like you can't grapple with all of it. So like when we're doing like a basketball thing, like what's like the universe of basketball stuff we have? How do we get interest in like these specific things in a more focused way? And then also we talk a lot about women and marketing to women. And one thing I've noticed is that most like you have like a dichotomy of stuff. Either we're just marketing to like quote unquote everyone, which is like basically men, or we'll market to women like this really sort of like floofy, fuzzy, feel good, health, holistic way, which is dumb. But also if you look at content or like niches that are more like female centric, women don't talk to other women like that. And so I want to pay more attention to like the space and like think about ways that we can like create content that's better targeted at women for the kinds of things that they want to consume, because I feel like that's not that hard. So for a great example of this, and I could talk about this now, is the National Women's Soccer League just had its finals, I guess, a month and a half ago. And for that, we partnered with Demois, who's like a celebrity news influencer, and had her like leak that Nike or that the NWSL was submitting its playoffs for like a Golden Globe and Best Drama. And so we had this crossover, and you had all these comments about, oh my God, why is she talking about this? And it's so cool. I'm like, yeah, this league is slept on or whatever. And it felt really, really organic, and the kinds of feedback we got specifically from women were about like, oh my God, this is so cool. I love this. I need more of this. And so thinking about ways we can like do more of that, because I feel like it wasn't that hard. It just took thinking like, what are some places we can go that aren't like what we'd normally do?
What's not a bunch of guys in a boardroom coming up with ideas?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny though, because we have lots of like creatives who are female and lots of strategists who are female. And so it's not like there aren't women here. It's just the thing we normally do is we will go on these specific platforms. We'll talk about these specific things or these specific themes and ideas that we like to play with. And so it's easy to go to that as opposed to like trying something new that a client isn't necessarily going to approve, because clients, I think in every niche, tend to be pretty conservative.
You have such a cool job, Rod.
Yeah, you have a cool job. He was eating a Pokeball crochet. I don't know what a posh biscuit. I don't know what it is.
A biscuit, okay.
Yeah, but you don't have proper biscuits.
It's like,
you have
like probably free too, and you get to go take a nap in a pod, and
it's
then
only
you get
free
to
once a week
go on
and
your
they got rid of the nap pods.
adult playground. And
Why would they get rid of the nap pods?
because
Wait,
people
no,
are
I know
sleeping.
exactly why they got rid of the nap pods.
Oh, you're a dirty man. All right. What's the next question?
I want to know what everyone's up to outside of copy that.
Oh, well, we talked about it a little bit just then.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I think we've already kind of touched on this. I'm just doing what I normally do, man. I'm just working my work, raising some kids. That's basically it. Trying to start a few and grow a few businesses. That's copy that is my hobby, one that I take very seriously, but it's a hobby nonetheless. And so
I love it. So, I mean, head of sales and marketing at a health tech company, e-com business owner, e-com consultant still technically, and then I also work with a really cool business that make little 3D model of people, which I love, which is another thing that's fun. And then I just tend to potter about really, and just try not to die. Basically my life. Cool. Lindsay, Rod, what do
I
you guys
love
do?
that. So, I mean, for new people, I'm a mom of 3 kids, 5, 3, and 1. And so my full-time job, not full-time, I mean, it is a full-time job. My hard job starts at 5 p.m. and I take care of them. Recently, I've been entertaining the in-laws from overseas for the holidays. I've been super sick and spending a lot of time on my day job, which has been launching a new financial publishing company that focuses on tech and biotech, and gearing up for our first product launch. So coming up next month. So a lot of different things.
I have a promo that I want to pitch you, Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
The biotech bonanza. Like for the last 2 years, biotech has been one of the worst performing sectors in the market.
Mm-hmm.
But because interest rates are starting to go down, capital is going to start getting a little bit cheaper, which means a lot of these like small biotech companies are going to just absolutely explode in value as they see a flood of new investment. There's tons of proof that this has happened before. Just look historically at like when biotech stocks have popped after interest rates have gone down. And that's like, Evaldo Albuquerque says, like, with any sort of system promo, all you're trying to do is show like a banana on a chart. You see the banana on the chart, stock goes up.
Yeah.
And so the
here's 50 times that happened. Yeah, that's it.
And so like just find a bunch of historical examples, and bingo bango, you have yourself an offer, and that could easily be spun into both a front end and a back end. So
well,
Rod,
read the latest issues for why interest rates aren't coming down as much as people think.
Why is it a banana on a chart and not something else?
I don't know. Maybe because the person worked for Chiquita. I don't know. Like what's Harry Belafonte? I have no idea.
Okay, I'm just curious.
What do you do outside of copy that, Rod?
I don't do marketing for bananas or apples or any other kind of fruit. What is my job? So my job title is like strategist, but more or less I help come up with like the creative kernel of ideas for ad campaigns for Nike. I don't work at Nike. I work at an advertising agency called Wyden Kennedy, and basically I'm like the middle point between like hearing the business problem from the brand and trying to like and getting at like what is the creative solution to this going to be. So for example, oftentimes a company will come to you and be like, hey, the holiday's coming up, we want to talk about this. Let's say you work for like, I don't know, DSW, the shoe emporium, and Black History Month is coming up, and your DSW clients come up to you and like, hey, we want to do something for Black History. And your first reaction is, shoes have nothing to do with Black History Month. Why do you want to do something for this? It's my job to be like, okay, well, this company was created in 1957, and they actually hired their first employee the day of MLK's I Have a Dream speech because they were so inspired by this thing. And so they have this history of, supporting Black history, yada, 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 yada. And so the key insight behind the brand is that, DSW isn't just designer shoe warehouse. It's the difference-making shoe warehouse because that they make a difference when it comes to racial equity.
The D in DSW stands for diversity.
Exactly, diversity shoe warehouse. And so then we'll run that back to the client. They're like, oh my God, that's such a great insight. Like, wow, we couldn't have come up with this without you. And then we're like, great, glad you bought the bullshit. And then we'll go to our creative team and be like, hey, this is kind of where we're seeing this going. Clients love this angle. How could we like show up with this in real life, whether that's an ad or a billboard or whatever. I don't write the ads or the copy for the ads themselves. It's just helping the creatives understand like where are we trying to go with this.
There we go. That's what we do outside of copy.
Rod has a really special brain.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I get paid to think.
Yep, that's very cool.
No, it's Rod, I think you put it best. And I keep circling back to this, which is like, like the three of us, like our job is to come up with ideas, but also to execute. Your job is just the ideas.
It's just the ideas.
You bastard.
Yeah. When I try to come up with the execution,
which is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. Once you know how to write, the ideas are the hardest. When at the beginning you go like, oh, ideas must be easy. Like it's the writing that I don't know how to do, but no, it's the ideas that become the hardest.
Yeah, it's funny too because when so much of the job is like just ideas, I feel like there's a lot more that gets left in the cutting table because oftentimes you'll be coming up with an idea for something and it just won't get made, or the client will lose interest or whatever. And so earlier today, I was like looking through work I've done this year that's gotten published, and there were way more things I did last year that never saw the light of day than things I did that went out into the real world.
All right.
That's cool. But
next question.
I'm sure you'll be able to draw on all of it.
Yeah.
You'll find ways to repurpose all of your previous ideas. That's kind of the way this works. Is copywriting part-time or freelance doable while in college going to a 4-year degree in information systems?
Well, no, not information systems. If you were doing it in like English or history, like definitely.
Underwater basket weaving.
But no, in all seriousness, 100% it's doable.
Yeah.
Copywriting is so doable part-time. I did copywriting part-time when I had a full-time job, which is how I then transitioned to doing copywriting full-time. If you're doing it part-time, this is the only advice that I would give for someone who really wants to do it part-time is go for easier clients. By that I mean like don't try and be like a finance copywriter part-time, because like that's you got to be all in for that. Like you've got to really want that to learn all of that. You can quite easily do copywriting and marketing strategy for local businesses part-time, or for like online dealies part-time. It's 100% doable. So yes, and to learn how to do that, I would recommend just going and watching our Copywriting 101 series on YouTube first of all, and just go on the channel and look at all the things that seem relevant. We could just come on and say that and then leave.
I think
Go watch our
it's like
videos.
the perfect part-time job to do when you've got other stuff going on, whether it's college for a 4-year degree or a job. I mean, with copywriting, you'll have deadlines, which are, dictated by your own, pace that you're setting, for example, but mostly by your clients' deadlines and, meeting their needs. But for the most part, then you can work freely as you have pockets of time that are open. The jobs that I did part-time was like parking cars, tutoring, and working as a GA. Like I didn't have blocks of time where I could sit down and focus on writing something. Like, people needed their cars. I had to go get their cars. And there were a lot of disruptions. And so, but with copywriting, it's all kind of self-paced. And, so long as you kind of know your far out deadline and your deliverable deadline, I think it's a perfect job to do when you're doing to do part-time.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Perfectly fine. Joe Schriefer called it the best job in the world. And that sort of takes us to the next question. Is copywriting saturated? Here's my go-to answer for this. Yes, at the bottom rung.
Yeah. That's the one.
What is it that who's the famous bodybuilder? Rob Coleman? Whatever.
Ronnie Coleman?
Ronnie Coleman. Everybody want to be a bodybuilder. Ain't nobody want to lift no heavy ass weight. Like copywriting is very saturated at those entry level stuff because for the most part, most copywriters trying to make it as a copywriter are just very bad at it. And the ones that make money initially are often good at pitching themselves, but then deliver bad work. And then they sort of like bumble along making sort of mediocre money because they keep like this sort of churn of clients going where they sell themselves well, but then they don't do very good work. And so they never really hook on to any business. And then they eventually wash out or end up somewhere else. And so once you get past that hump, which includes, by the way, 80% of the people trying to be copywriters, well, then it becomes way less saturated once you get beyond that level of quality. But it's getting past that level of quality that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, nothing to add. I agree.
So, any cool ways to come up with super strong metaphors without sounding too fancy or drawing attention to your copy?
Ooh, I don't know. I think there's a book that everyone recommends, like the Iceberg Lady. I don't know what it's called. Or is that a superhero? Is that a thing? Or have I dreamt that?
I was talking about the crack epidemic earlier, so maybe we're coming full circle.
I'm gonna find it. I've never read it. I feel like I've never really had issues coming up with metaphors, or I don't use them that much. Like it's probably more that. But I see a load of people recommend this book, so let me find it and tell you what the name is.
I'm going to give you the real answer. So
I have the real answer. You don't have the real answer.
Oh, by all means.
No, you can go ahead with your fake answer first.
To you, Mr. Real Answer Man.
Okay, so here's the real answer that is much more real than the thing that Sean's going to say. It's just preface that. Okay, so here's the thing. Metaphors are really just metaphors are a tool we use to make things relatable to people. If you don't know what the linguistic term particle means, and I tell you, oh, it's a word connector or it's a directional whatever, that might make that word accessible to you. It's a terrible example, but I'm sorry. To come up with good metaphors is not understanding it's not being able to come up with like some fancy pants. Oh, it's like the waves in the ocean kind of thing. It's having an understanding of what your target audience's experiences are, what your product is, and whatever context it is in which they're reading the thing or engaging with that content, to the extent that you're able to like connect those things in a way that is easily accessible. So my advice for coming up with like strong metaphors is not actually to worry about metaphors nearly as much as it is doing things like reading widely, consuming pop culture, knowing what it is that your audience understands about the world or the notions that they believe in, so that you can speak to those things in a way that makes your product or service comprehensible.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
God damn it, Rod. My
Boom.
fake answer was going to be the same as your real answer.
I mean, don't listen to either of them because I'm actually bringing like the real answers, which is a book recommendation. What are we not copywriters if we don't recommend books? A book I've never read, I should add. That is one that everyone goes to, and I've had it on good authority from someone who I trust that is a good book for metaphor thingies. So
Yeah.
maybe go see if that helps.
All right.
Yeah, that's great. Good job, Rod.
Yep. Nailed it. When looking at a business, how do I know what to help them with?
Ooh. I mean, we touched on this earlier.
We touched on this earlier, so I'll just give a quick synopsis, which is very simply, there are two things that you can do to help a business. You can either improve what they have or provide them something that they're not. Now, here's the thing. You will often have a much easier time selling somebody on a thing that they're not doing by basically coming up and saying, hey, I can be the person that does that thing for you. For example, if a business, like some sort of like e-commerce shop, is not on Pinterest or Etsy or whatever, you can sell yourself as an Etsy copywriter, somebody who can help them set up their Etsy shop, yada, yada. You can be the champion of that. And guess what? A business wants to sell more stuff, so they're going to be like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And like, that's how that goes. Conversely, you could also do the harder thing, which is, hey, your emails suck, or your product pages suck, or your sales pages suck. I can do them better. That's a harder sell because, one, very frequently you're talking to the person who wrote them, and so ego is going to get involved. And two, like, you freaking, gotta put up or shut up, man, because like if you can't do better than what's already there, you basically have ruined that relationship. And then you just re-enter that feast or famine, kill or be killed cycle. So yeah, you want to look for and think about the things that they are doing, but that you could do better and that you can do better, or go the easy route and just look for the things that they are not doing and then sell them on that. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's your opinion.
Happy New Year. I am a loyal Patreon subscriber for half a year now. Wow. Thank you. From Germany. This is my first question. I position myself as an e-commerce copywriter. Cool. Oh. And now I'm doing cold calling for test projects to get case studies. Often I get the objection, thanks, but we will get an agency which will cover more than just texts. How do I counter this? With an agency will be expensive, better hire me. So basically, freelancer vs agency, or freelancer versus agency. Thank you, smiley face.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Alex, I feel like you're the one most qualified to answer this one.
Yes, and annoyingly, I was just replying to an urgent message, so let me read that again. Is it basically just, do I do agency or do I do freelance?
No.
There are
nuances here.
The feedback that they've got.
Let me read it.
You have to carefully study this question.
I'm so sorry. I was replying
along
to
the way.
Okay. All right. Someone tell an anecdote quick. I'll just read it again. This is my first question. I positioned myself as an e-commerce copywriter. Cool. And now I'm doing cold calling for test projects to get case studies. Often I get the objection of, thanks, but we will get an agency which cover more than just text. How do I counter this with an agency will be expensive, better hire me, so basically freelance. Okay, awesome. That makes sense. Okay. A reality that you need to accept, and I say this to people who are looking to get into copywriting quite a lot, which is that basically every business wants you to do as much as possible for as little as possible. You get some unicorn businesses who understand the value of copywriting and like want a great copywriter, and that's that. Those are few and far between. And it's hard to convince a business that they need just copywriting, right? Which is why as I said earlier, I always used to position myself as a marketer and that I could do more than just copywriting. I wouldn't go in and say like, hey, I'm going to immediately say I'm going to do all this stuff for you, but I would identify the problem and I would say, I think this would be improved if we changed this email sequence, for example, to say like these things and we had it in this order. If you start with that and don't limit yourself to just that, so you don't just say like, oh, and that's all I'll do, I'll just write the copy. If you talk about it like that, get them interested first and then say, oh, okay, well, like, what can you do for that? it's always easy, in my opinion, it's always easier to say yes that you can do things and then learn how to do that thing. Like once someone's agreed, it's quite easy to go on an email service provider or a CRM system or whatever, and just like put together an email sequence, and then and just kind of work that out along the way. So I wouldn't put people off in the immediate sense by just saying, hey, I just write copy. That is how you get over the kind of agency versus freelance objection. It's not so much that, oh, we're definitely going to go for an agency. It's more that they don't see the value in just hiring someone to just write words. So they don't understand the intrinsic value of copy. That is, I think, a barrier you need to push beyond, is to learn to offer a bit more beyond just copy and to communicate that. That's what I would say.
I have a different answer.
Do that.
I agree with Alex's answer, but I also have a different answer. And I think this is something that copywriters could like acknowledge a little bit more and benefit from, is that in 2024, the current year, for 95% of businesses you're going to reach out to, they do actually need copywriting and like visual design services. And so if all you do is write copy, that will be insufficient for their needs. And if they hire you, they're going to have to hire someone else as well. And so that is an obstacle for them to overcome. And that's like a very real thing. Yes, you can go and learn to be a visual designer as well, but that's going to take time. That's going to take resources, whatever. I don't think it's worth it for most people. However, one thing that's really interesting to me working in a creative agency is that all of the copywriters are paired with an art director for every single project. And people who leave and start their own businesses or just go off to do freelance work typically still partner with somebody who is doing their visual design for them on all of their projects. What that means for you, if you are a freelancer and you're starting out, hopefully you're mid-level, you've gotten a couple jobs in your belt, is that one thing you can do is you can just find someone online. You can go to Fiverr, you can go to like Facebook groups or whatever, and reach out and be like, hey, I'm a copywriter. I do these projects that need design work. Is there anyone who's interested in partnering with me on some of these things? And basically hire somebody to work with you, whether that's for a flat fee for every project or a flat fee per service that they do on the project, or whether you just do like a revenue share. Just go into business with that person. You could structure that as like a formal partnership. You could structure that as you have your own agency and just market yourself as an agency in which you hire designers, and depending on your needs at the time. Just know that like the reason you get that pushback is because that is a real need. And if you're charging at similar rates to an agency, any business that looks at you is going to be like, okay, we could hire this person, but we're also going to have this additional charge, and we're also going to do the additional work of hiring somebody else to do our visual stuff, and then managing that, and then making sure all the stuff is fitting between these two freelancers, and that is a lot of work. So just keep that in mind.
All right. I have nothing to add to those two things. Those were two very good answers. So let us press forth, because I know that Lindsay has to go at 5, and then Rod, you're technically like on the clock. So.
I'm just chilling at the office.
So we all have other stuff to do, but for the daily practice bit of the copywriting guide, should you go through the whole process of research and everything else, etc., or just write from the top of the dome? I'm presuming these are for like daily practice pieces.
Like writing. 1 page of copy.
Yeah, 1 page of copy. I'm going to give you the honest answer, which is start by writing from the top of the dome. Just have fun. Knock yourself out. Get it onto the page and move on. But as part of the practice of like writing, you are going to reach a point where you have to like look back at what you wrote, and then you have to be like, was this any good? And if you notice that like, the proof felt fairly weak, it didn't feel very specific, it just kind of like, it didn't really touch on anything that was like anybody could really glom onto, you're going to realize, this piece would have been really good had you done even a little bit of research, like even just a little bit. And so I'm going to give you permission. I'm going to give everybody watching this permission to go and write whatever the hell you want. Literally, you can like write the page of copy that you write today could be about the bowel movement you had this morning. I do not care. But guess what? Your copy is going to be better and you're going to have a much better time like learning from this process and actually like having your practice like, teach you something if you actually do some research. How much? It depends on the project. It depends on what you're writing about. Like, for example, Lindsay, she deals with like highfalutin tech stuff basically every single day. Lindsay, how much time do you spend per day when editing an issue or looking and like putting stuff together, like actually looking up what the hell Jeff is talking about?
Yeah, a good portion of it, but I do focus on the bits that I feel like are necessary to what we call the golden thread. And so long as something isn't relevant to the overall argument, I try to move through it as quickly as possible so it's not distracting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, as part of this job, as part of this gig that you want to do, research is going to be most of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're practicing copy, kind of makes sense to at least ingrain into your head that research is an inextricable part of that process.
Yeah.
But for now, have fun. Write copy about this empty bottle of Gatorade. And then send it to me. I'm not going to read it. There you go. Oh, this is a fun one. I spent around $5,000 on copywriting resources in 2023. When are you going to ascend me so I can give you more money?
You don't need permission. Just
you can self-ascend at any time.
Yeah, just we'll take Venmo. We'll take PayPal. No, we I mean, I'll let other people talk. I talk too much.
I mean, if you just write me a check.
Like Alex is looking for a banner.
Sorry, I'm just dealing with one thing. I will be back in a moment. I swear.
Yeah, we need to do. So here's the thing. We do have a back-end product, but we've kind of really settled on this notion that what we're going to do is for the back end probably just have like boot camp, like one-off boot camps. I'm thinking about holding a boot camp in like the latter half of January to the like early February, just like 4 weeks, like a few hours. Like I'm only taking 5 people. Like I will actually critique your copy, like, and give you personal advice about what you can do to improve. I really haven't like settled on that or like decided on whether I'm doing that or not. Obviously, everybody is welcome to like join me and like help me out with that like small cohort for a month just to test it out. But like we really like, we're not like Iman Gadzhi, we're not like Tyson 4D, we're not like Cardinal Mason. Like we're not gunning, and we're not planning on gunning to create a $5,000 course anytime soon. That's just
I think we kind of tried to when building the products that we built, we kind of just tried to follow where the value was and what people wanted, and then from there it became, oh, we have a lot of stuff and this is probably overwhelming for a newbie, so what are the ways that we can make it more digestible? I think one of the best things that we created that kind of does that is this link, how to join. It's a great place to kind of figure out what are all of the ways that you can pay for stuff and what that stuff looks like, or copy that. And then, as Sean said, we do kind of have higher end products as well, but like it's all on there, from kind of beginner level free content to more expansive mastery content, I would say. But I created this page to really show people and play tour guide to where everything is and where everything lives.
Yep. So if you want to give us money, that's how you can do it. When looking at business, how do I know what to, oh, we already answered this question. I have a question about the video Alex made about getting ecom clients.
I'm back.
Who's oh, is that Rod? How long should the audit
and rowdy?
So Alex, this question is for you. Do I have your attention?
You have my attention. I feel like that light is going to go out soon because that one just went out, but you have my attention. I may go dark.
How long should the audit of the prospect's website be? Should I go in depth, or should I make surface suggestions or observations?
if you really want a time limit, I think anything kind of sub 5 minutes is, people go like, oh, it's watchable. But honestly, I never found a time like made a much of a difference. As long as you've kind of said to someone like, hey, this is your thing, and they can see it's their thing, they can go for a while just watching it. I think people appreciate brevity. So you don't need to like rewrite something for them on a video. My average would probably be between like 5 and 10 minutes. And when you say make surface suggestions, not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call them surface. I would just, you have to make them something that they wouldn't have thought of themselves. So they would go like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. Or I've never, and make sure you back up the logic, right? To use logic to back up your suggestion. As long as you're doing those things, like, it's fine. You don't need to go mega in depth. And you can just say, you know, this is the kind of stuff that I've done for other people, or it's the kind of stuff that I can do for you. So if you're interested in having someone to do this, I'm right here, and I can, you know, we can talk about working together. So that would be my answer for that.
I'm just zipping along through the questions because I'm trying to be conscientious of people's time. Question about coming up with an idea a day. Is the goal there solely to produce ideas that you can later use in your copy? I mean, ideally, but also, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think the example that I gave once was that, like, I once had an idea while I was changing a poopy diaper of like, what if there was like a covers half the body pressure washer with like spinning, whirling water to, like, you could just dunk a baby in, strap them in, and then they get washed, and then you pull them out, sort of like a dishwasher. I was like, how cool would it be to have a product like that? That was my idea for the day.
Sean, it's called a sink. You just that in the sink.
I legitimately,
You
there
need,
have been
you need a baby bidet.
a baby bidet. There have been situations where I was just like, it's the client's dead. We're past the Rubicon. Like, there's no turning back now. I just turn on the shower and I just hope for the best.
Yep.
Parenting.
I think in the beginning, the goal is, as you're doing this practice, the goal is to get out all the bad, right? That is the goal, because early in your career as a copywriter, as an idea generator, you're just going to put out a lot of bad stuff. And the faster and the more you can do that, the faster you will get to the good stuff. And so I think, would you guys agree with that? In the beginning, it's really to just kind of get in the practice and get used to generating ideas and not be afraid of putting ideas out there, and to get past yourself and your own imposter syndrome, and like to start building that habit, and then to get out all the bad stuff. And then I
can't nod in agreement any harder. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
The answer is yes. No, what is it Brian Hunt said? You need 10,000 bad ideas so that you can eventually have one good idea.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Is that Mike's brother?
Mike Hunt? Oh, you dirty dog.
Guys, we were doing so well. Why is it when I say that on the stream, everyone gets annoyed and says, oh, we can't do that? When Sean says it on stream, it's fine.
No, Sean, Rod can say anything.
Oh, somebody clip that. Hey guys, thanks a lot for this type of content. You're very welcome. Thank you for being a viewer, a watcher, an appreciator, yada yada. What would you recommend to someone who is just coming in full time with a direct response company as a copywriter or strategist? Ooh,
congratulations.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
What would our actual advice be?
I mean, well, direct response company, I'm going to assume they mean in a traditional-ish industry. So I feel like Sean and or Lindsay, you would be best placed to tackle this one, especially because I need a wee.
Okay. Well, here's my advice. Read the stuff that they've put out before. Like, if it's a direct response company, they probably have a huge library or repository of the offers that they put out, the copy they've put out, and the data associated with those offers in that copy. What you want to understand is like what your lists respond to, and like get that into your head as much as humanly possible, because it is going to be from business to business. It's going to be from like offer to offer. And you're going to want to sort of like build up your golden gut, like build up your like internal sense of like what works for that business versus what doesn't. I can think of no better way to spend your time in the early stages of your work at a company than learning everything that has allowed that company to make money and what you can do to make it better.
Absolutely. I would also add on to that, learn who are like the movers and the shakers and the big decision makers in the various departments, and invite them to lunch, sit down with them and ask them questions about how they view their job, what they view to be most important about their role and what they do, and try to understand the business from those multiple different areas, because it will help you get a more complete picture of the business that you operate in. But the great news is, because you're in a direct response company and you're in a role that is super close to the money, as close as possible to the money, you're already kind of in a valuable position. And so, yeah, good job. And I would just do my best to try to understand the rest of the company. Yeah.
Let's see. Is full PPC campaign a viable job title? No. You can be a full, like a PPC marketer, a network marketing manager, media buyer is typically what they are called, but that's the job title, and they're certainly viable. Like if you're a good media buyer, oh man, can you make a lot of money? And it involves copywriting. So there you go.
And you could do that in so many different contexts. Like you can be freelance, you can be in-house at a bazillion different types of agencies. Like you could come into an ad agency like I'm at with media buyers.
How important is cadence or rhythm in copy? If it is very important, what would be a good way to get better at it?
Ooh.
That's an interesting question.
I don't think it's very important.
I don't think it's important. Here's the thing. It's important in certain contexts. Like, for example, if you are writing a VSL script and the writing is extremely clunky, it's just going to be hard for a person to read. And also, again, I keep bringing up the politics thing. The person who has to read the thing is going to get really mad at you for writing in a way that's not in their voice.
Mm-hmm.
So a good way that I've gotten better at writing in other people's voices and mimicking their rhythm and cadence is by interviewing them, transcribing those interviews, and then just using their words in the copy. And then trying my best to write like that.
I think one good test for this, just for yourself to kind of think about this, is like, if you're ever on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you call it, or it's probably other places too, like you have those ads that are like the AI voice reading a script, usually for some like Alibaba type thing. And the copy on those sometimes is like kind of bad, but it's not bad enough that you're like, this is incomprehensible, but it just sounds a little bit off. I think the bar you need to set is a little bit above that, but you can tell that even when the copy isn't great, it's still comprehensible. And those ads, do make money. So probably you don't have to be much better than that to be like at a decent level for most jobs you'll be doing.
Do you guys have an Upwork setup video? Oh my God, do we ever? Rod is the master of that.
Yeah, I mean, we have an old one. I think one of my goals for 2024 was, and I guess now is, to do a new version of that. Because last time it was just how to make a profile, but we could definitely do one that's like how to register and tips and flying for your first job and all that fun stuff. So yes, we do. And yes, there will be a better one soon, TM.
All right. Are full-time copywriting jobs the ultimate retainer?
Yes, they are.
Maybe. So
opinions vary.
I don't know how to answer this question. So I'll just go with Rod's answer. The answer is yes. No, so a retainer is what you pay a freelancer to retain them and retain their services on an ongoing basis. A copywriting job literally retains your services solely for one company.
Yeah.
So there you go. So yes,
It's basically what a salary is.
Guys, it's 5:00. I have to unfortunately jet. I'm on a strict schedule, so sorry to leave everyone. But I've had a lot of fun. Thank you guys. It's
Love
great
seeing
hanging
you.
out.
you
Yeah,
were amazing as always. Always enjoy streaming with you.
likewise. Thank you everyone for helping ensure the success of Copy That, and we love you guys.
Thank you, Lindsay,
Yeah.
for helping us
Thank you,
get
Lindsay.
40,000 subscribers.
Being 25% of that.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Rod, can we keep you? Alex, can we keep you for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
You can keep me for a little bit longer.
How to counter the age factor when outreaching to clients? Are you too old or too young? I can answer the too old one.
Too young one is. I'm gonna level with everyone here. It's yes, it's possible. It is unlikely that reputable businesses are going to hire you if you're not 18. It's unlikely. Local businesses might. Some businesses might. I don't know what the laws are in different countries if you live somewhere else. But I can tell you that in the UK certainly, and from my experience in the US, they will shy away from hiring you if they find out you're 18 or don't have your own bank account or don't have like a full bank account and things like that. So it's just a reality. And you know, we could kind of lie about this and say like, oh, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can like succeed in copywriting and then get you to buy courses and get you to do this. It's like the reality is like you're probably not going to earn money with copywriting until you're 18, just because a lot of businesses go like, well, we're not going to hire a 15-year-old to write copy for us or to do anything for us because that's, you know, against child labor laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like in a lot of for a lot of companies, they actually do care very much about like adhering to child labor laws. In the US and Maryland in particular, there's different sets of paperwork that you need to fill out per state if you're hiring somebody that's under the age of 18. Some small businesses do not care. Like they won't care. And also you can lie, but also here's the thing. If they find out, that's fraud and you can get sued. And like then it becomes this whole thing. And people ask me the whole like, can I become a copywriter if I'm under the age of 18 question all the time? And I shy away from that question because I know the answer, kind of like what I said before about a different thing we were talking about, which is like, I know people have done it. I wouldn't recommend that people try. And I say this as somebody who actually got writing work under the age of 18.
Yeah.
So, Rod, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. I mean, it's fuck around. Hopefully, you don't find out.
Yeah, pretty much. Should I try prospecting after a week of practice?
Probably not.
Are you really, really good? Like, are you looking at your practice pieces and reading them out loud to other people and they're going, oh my God, that was really persuasive and amazing. If they are, then yeah, go for it. If not, or if you're embarrassed to do that, then probably not. So here's the thing. You should always prospect before you feel ready because you're never going to feel ready. But if you've only been practicing for a week, what I would advise you to do instead is just spend a little bit of your time every single day researching and really understanding the businesses you would want to work for and building up a sort of deck of people that you want to pitch once you're ready to start prospecting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see. We're getting a few repeat questions, but also like we've been doing this since 3. We're at the questions that we got at 3:30.
Oh God.
So we're not going to get through all of them. We should set a hard stop. Maybe 5:30.
I would love a hard stop in like 26 minutes time because I need to sleep and get up early. But I also don't mind when we get down to a certain question, quick firing on a bunch, unless we're like, oh, like this one deserves more discussion. I don't mind.
Oh, Alex looks like he feels murderous about Americans not knowing his hometown.
You'd be right.
Oh boy.
They should know Hertfordshire like the back of their hands.
I mean, I do because I'm your friend, but you know.
Watford is where. Anyway, let's not get back into that.
All right. How did
interesting
copywriting
question.
affect your life besides money?
That's a good question. I like that question.
Yeah.
This sounds so obvious, this one, but like it just made me so much more aware of what happens in like the business world, and both the good and the bad. And it's just so interesting. I don't look at ads the same way anymore. I don't look at business decisions the same way anymore. I question a lot more stuff, and I'm curious about everything. I think that if I had to sum it up in a few bullets.
Yeah, I mean, I can credit it with it gave me lots of great lifelong friends.
Shut the so
Hey,
I wanted to use
right.
the G word there, but again, I don't want to get canceled.
So gay. Well, just say it's gay, dude. If someone's gay, you gotta say it's gay. It's just gay.
Hey, what the hell, dude?
Is that cancelable now? Well,
That's
he can say
cancelable.
it.
It's not cancelable. I can't say it.
Well, no, you can say it.
Oh, I can. I can say
Because
it.
you're English.
Yeah, and we that means
And
happy
by
over here.
default. Oh, or that. Sure.
Nah, so if someone's gay, dudes, it's fucking gay. Okay, let's move on.
Jesus Christ. We're gonna get demonetized now.
And this is
No.
why BetterHelp won't sponsor us.
Let me put it this way. My job is to wake up every single day and learn something new and fascinating, and like that's what my job is every single day. I learn something I want to learn every single day. And that's how it's affected my life. It has massively improved the quality of my life. I'm happier than I ever was before. It's improved my writing, which is all I ever wanted to be when I was a kid. So, like, yeah, that's my answer. It's been everything to me.
Oh, that's gay.
Aw, gay.
That's also gay. That's two gays. That's two gays in one stream.
Rod's just contemplating, like, but is it really?
It's not gay to care about your life.
Yes, it is.
It's
Did
gay to care about your life.
And if it
There's
is,
nothing more blatantly homosexual than actually caring about other people and yourself.
Gay, you guys don't get it. Gay doesn't mean homosexual. Gay, it's just gay. You know, it's fucking gay. Don't do something that's gay.
no,
It's not.
No,
That's not a. It's not a slur. It's just. It's fucking gay, man.
It means jovial and prone to frolicking.
Yes.
Okay,
Which is gay.
The appropriate thing to do is you had to pivot from that to then talk about the general state of heterosexual male dissatisfaction with life and the way in which like toxic masculinity makes men predisposed to all like early death and yada yada yada. You can't just harp
Rod,
on like
that's
the gay
fucking
part.
gay. You're saying gay shit right now, and I want it to stop. That sounded homophobic.
I feel like we're going over the line a little bit.
Yeah, we've gone past. Let's get back to questions. Yeah.
The youth are impressionable.
I've had boyfriends. It's okay. All right. Next question.
Any movies or TV shows about copywriting and marketing? Mad Men is the obvious answer, but here's the one that you should watch, which is Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh yeah. There's that one scene with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with like the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember any other part of the movie except for that one monologue.
No one does, and like he's not. That's the only scene in which she's in. He's not relevant to the rest of the movie.
There's one. I'm going to put one that isn't directly about copywriting, but you guys have heard of Brexit, right?
Yes.
Like the UK leaving the EU. There's a movie, and it's not. I'm not saying it's all amazingly accurate or anything like that. But there's a movie called Brexit: The Uncivil War, and in that film, it's all about how the campaign to get Brexit to go ahead won. And there are some great like copywriting lessons in that, like around like the tagline they use, around the research process they use of like going to talk to people in like pubs versus using just statistical analysis. And even though it's not about the copy specifically, that is a great film to just kind of idea generation and research and how that's then applied to a real life persuasion campaign. So I would recommend that. That's quite cool. All right.
How did you meet and choose each other to start this killer channel?
Nice question.
Alex.
It's the Copywriting Collective, which is a Discord server. which is still around. I think it's like 20,000 people in it now, which started 4 years ago, coming up for 5 years. It'll be 5 years this year. And we started that, like, it was another guy he's not active in it anymore, but him and like me and a few other people started that from the our copywriting, the subreddit. And it was like 7 of us in this new Discord server, and we decided like, oh, let's just meet up. None of us knew about copywriting. Like, let's meet up and talk about copywriting. And we just kind of advertised it on the subreddit a bit, saying, hey, come join. It's a free thing. We're just chatting. And it just grew and grew from there. That grew and grew and grew. Sean eventually joined, I assume from the subreddit. Yep. And then we got chatting, like, and Sean was just like this entity we weren't like particularly close or anything. It's just like I had conversations with him on there. I didn't know him beforehand. That was cool. Rod joined, and similar thing, like had conversations, but like not particularly closely. And then what came, the portfolio challenge came first, right, Rod?
Yeah. Because so I joined the Discord server and like just didn't post anything for like 9 months and didn't read it. And then you guys pinged everybody about the portfolio building challenge. So basically, Alex and John, who a lot of us, you guys know, were starting an agency, and they wanted to hire some people. And so in order to do that and help people practice, they had like a portfolio building challenge where the job was to build like 3 different pieces of copy. I think it was like a small sales funnel. And me, never having written copy before, was like, oh, I see what people are writing for this. This is utter trash. I could beat this. And so I then applied.
Yep.
I think I wrote everything in like 2 days.
I still remember the ad. It was a good ad.
Yeah.
The ad was basically, the funnel was about pitching yourself as a copywriter.
Right.
Like that, pitching your services. And Rod and it was a Facebook ad, a sales page, and an email. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the Facebook ad that came first. And Rod sent that in, and I looked at it, and it was like one of the only ones, one of about 4, I think, of the people I put forward that maybe stop. And I was like, oh, well, that's really cool. No one else has done that. I've never seen that before. Really liked it. Now, it would have actually got you banned on Facebook, but it was the thinking that went behind it that I was like, that is such a good idea. Rod was pitching himself, and he did, I can't remember the exact line, but it was something like, do you ever worry that your copy is, and then it just went into like Japanese, like writing. And it just was so attention grabbing, and I was like, "Oh, what?" And then I got the message immediately, and I read on, and it was like, "Oh, I do that. Like, I'm a translator. Translating is so much more about making sure you get your proper meaning across, which is what copy's about. So I'm the copywriter for you." And it was just great. It was just a great idea.
Never got.
Anything else you want to say about that? We hired you. That's what happened.
It worked. So that happened. Then I think we're all just in the Discord for a while. Sean started doing copy breakdown streams, and I was like, oh, how hard could it be? So then I started doing copy breakdown streams because I'm an arrogant asshole. And then I think Luke started doing copy breakdown streams, and then we're like, well, we could all
because he's a.
And Sean was like, it makes no sense. Let's just all do them together. And so then we did them together, and then it was like a weekly thing. And they were like, hey, let's put these on YouTube, because I think we're streaming on Twitch at the time. And then we just kind of grew from there. Lindsay was in the shadows until, I think, was it last year or the year before last?
Until, was it 2022?
No.
September 2022.
Was it?
Yeah, so it wasn't. Yeah, so it's 2022. So she was there the entire time, but only like just recently joined the stream. And then Alex, we've known him forever. He was, I think, our first guest on the show. But we were always talking to him. And so at some point we're like, yeah, do you just want to be a regular person? He's like, yeah, sure. And now here we are.
Yeah, Lindsay and I have been like that for like 7 years. Like everything that we do, we kind of do together. And even if it's like a solo project, it's like a Lewis Cole. Like he always works with Genevieve Artadi, even when he's doing his solo stuff. It's like you find a person that you can work really, really well with, and then you just kind of like build that partnership and like move it in a specific direction. So I don't actually own 25% of Copy That. I actually own 50% of a business that she and I own together, which owns 25 the 50% of copy that. So that's how my business structure works. Almost everything that I own that's sort of agency or marketing related is owned by a company that I own with Lindsay. And it took me a long time to convince her to come out of the shadows and be on stream, because she's really smart and really insightful and like really funny and has a lot of cool stuff to share. But also she's doesn't like having a super public persona. And so it took a long time for her to come out of that. But it's one of those things where it's like, once we all started like talking and working together, we realized like, oh, not only are we good partners, but we're also pretty good friends. And like, you know, I've had Alex and Rod and everybody has like stayed at my house and stuff like that. And it's like, Rod, I think you even put it the last time that you were here, which is like, I wanted to retest like this friendship. Like, does it have legs? Is this a real thing? And it does.
We can actually be friends.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. We like each other.
Yeah. So it's that's one of those things where it's like, if you're a business partners with somebody, there's always going to be like that layer of like, okay, we need to be real, but also like there has to be like a compelling reason that you want to be business partners with that person. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I still have the wine cork from when I visited you, and I still have the shells of the bullets I fired from when I visited you, and they're front and center in front of me all the time. That's how much I like you guys and what we do together. So, you know, and I can lick the cork and get some alcohol kicks. So,
it's disgusting.
That's vile.
All right.
Oh man.
How do you come up with ideas?
No, we can't talk about this.
Problems.
This is
So much.
Don't get me started.
A whole video.
There's a whole masterclass on idea generation.
There is a whole masterclass, which we've just approved copy for. So, which is going to get uploaded somehow. I should probably do that.
I already took care of it.
Oh, thank God, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, go and buy a masterclass. That's not what this stream is for.
Yeah. We're not promoting on this stream, but like we should, but we're not. So, I'm looking for the next one. Do you still think that 90% of copywriters are not good despite the help of AI? Yeah, I absolutely think that, because here's the thing. Just because you can write good sentences that have the trappings like of sales or of persuasion doesn't make a good copy. That's it. Like the vast majority of copywriters out there in the world have no concept or understanding of like what makes copywriting actually good, because they don't think about things from the business's perspective. A business thinks copy is good if it delivers the results that they want. Most of the people trying to get out there and be a freelancer and stuff like that don't care about that. Don't even think about that. Don't even like consider what they could do to improve that outcome, as opposed to what can I do to get paid more. So, you know, most copywriters, even with AI, are still really, really bad, because guess what? I know a lot of businesses, most of them ain't making a whole lot more money just because generative AI exists.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't. And just because you now have access to AI, that doesn't make your copy any better. It just means that it's more polished. That's it.
Yep. Agree.
Yep.
Agree.
Let's see. With Google's recent updates to their ad platform emphasizing Google Business Profile, what updates would you make to your super awesome No Man's Niche book in 2024? That's a whole stream. We're gonna have to like revisit and revamp the whole book and basically like completely reconsider that and do a sort of like revised for 2024 edition. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Because one of the reasons why we don't do videos about like here's how to set up on Google ads or here's how to do a campaign on Facebook ads is because those platforms change every 3 months.
All the time.
The moment we like script, produce, make the video, edit the video, publish the video, by the time that happens with our current production schedule, it would already be out of date. So there's no point in doing that. The other people waste their lives making that kind of content. So, you know, that's what I would recommend you go watch. For our book, we're going to have to like revamp and revisit some of the chapters to update it for the new platform updates. That's just unavoidable. So yeah. But yeah, that book.
Yeah.
If you haven't read that
book.
book, I recommend it. Let's see. What is your favorite single piece of copy ever? Sean's must be End of America. That is not true. But what do you guys think?
Oh, okay. I'm going back to my classic then, which is for Dr. Shoop's Restorative Medicine. I believe it was the full title. Which is the Claude Hopkins ad where it's a newspaper spread, and at the top it just says, "Here are 1,000 New Yorkers that wrote to me to get better." For a penny, I think it says, and then it's got a list of names and like addresses of 1,000 people who'd bought the product. And like, is that the best copy ever? Like, no, it's not the best copy ever. Like, I'm sure there's more effective ones that I could easily point out, but I love that idea so damn much of just saying, "Hey, here's something you can't possibly ignore because it's big fucking text in a newspaper, and then a ton tiny text." That contrast when you're flipping through a newspaper already is kind of just like, "Oh, what's this?" Because there's a load of spacing around it. It's not like a packed headline. And then actually seeing it's, well, this is relevant to where I am because it was a newspaper and it was based in New York. And then the novelty of actually listing everyone who had bought something to prove that it had worked was just awesome. There's things that aren't great about it. For example, like, it's not the headline isn't really calling out to anything that's super relevant. Like, it's not saying, "Hey, if you have this specific problem," it's just talking about generally getting better, which is something, if I could critique Claude Hopkins on, I suppose it would be that. Sorry, the copywriting great who I can't hold a candle to. But I love the idea so much. It's so novel. So that's probably, if I had to pick one favorite piece of copy, it would probably be that one.
I don't have a favorite piece of copy. I have read not a lot. I've read a good amount of copy. Definitely not a lot compared to someone like Sean. But like, I'm the kind of person who holds onto more to like fragments than whole pieces or like concepts. So like, I appreciate copy that has very structured arguments that flow together to lead a reader to a conclusion. And there's so much copy that you could read to get good examples of that. I feel like the biggest thing that I would suggest to people is to read widely and look for patterns rather than read one or two things that are really, really good, because you need to know the how, not the what.
Yeah. I vacillate on this, but I have two answers to this. One of them is the Shah Gilani Master Algorithm promo, or from Money Map Press, which is now defunct, or Money Maps. Both of these, I think, were written by Jed Canty. The other one is the Radical Tech Profits Liquid Metal promo. Like, both of those are really, really good. That's my answer. But also Mike Palmer's Have You Heard of TAS? That's really good too. The problem with financial copy is that it's so niche, and if you're not like familiar with it, like, who even knows what the hell I'm talking about? So, question. Oh, this is a fun one. How impactful or useful is copywriting in today's world? Do you feel like you contribute a lot to society?
Oh, no, I do not. I don't want to ask that question because I feel like I'll end up not liking myself.
I'm perfectly fine with not liking myself. It is not useful for like today's society. It does not contribute to society. Marketers and copywriters are rentiers. What is a rentier? It's a person who sits in between some transaction, a middleman, basically, who just sort of like parasite leeches and sucks off of that stuff. The only reason why copywriters are really, really needed, like why marketers are really, really needed, is because businesses are really bad, generally speaking, at selling their stuff. And so, because there's this thing called a business that sells products at a mass capitalistic scale, copywriting exists and it is needed. And it's cool that we get to like get paid for our writing, but I'm not curing fucking cancer. I'm not like making the world better. Like, if anything, like, I'm polluting the world with more words, and I'm okay with that because businesses need sales. I'm happy to give them to them. That's it.
It is that. It's like, you can write for good causes. And I do believe right now, like I'm working and writing and strategizing for a company that has the potential to make people's lives way better and does make people's lives better. Do I think that means I'm contributing to society? I don't know. Sure. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, I do. It does have an impact in the world. I'm a good person. That'll get me through the night.
Oh, Roger.
Oh, sorry. I muted you. I'm so sorry. Because of that. I can imagine working somewhere that has a piano. Unless you work in like a concert hall.
Rod, you're unmuted now.
Oh, I know. Sorry, I was just letting her play. I'm going to take the opposite side. I think copywriting is impactful and it is useful in today's world. Whether that utility is positive or negative, I think we can come to our own conclusions about that. Ultimately, it's a tool. And so while it's absolutely the case that today, now more than ever, is something that is used by people who just want to make money, who have nefarious aims, who whatever, good people and good brands and, nonprofits still have the ability to use copywriting to accomplish good things in the world. And I think it's worthwhile for that purpose. Do I think that marketing for sports is particularly useful to society? Not always, but on the other hand, I think sports can be a really good allegory for like the human condition and the sort of struggles that we go through on a day-to-day basis. And so insofar as we can talk to people about that experience and remind people of their ability to grow and change and do good and accomplish good things and be more than they think they are today, or recognize what they are that they've never been able to see themselves, I think that is a worthwhile thing to do. It's just a matter of fighting for the opportunities to do that when it's a lot easier just to say, go buy this shoe. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very deep.
Listen, there's really only one job that truly is usefully impactful in today's world, that truly contributes to society, and that's political assassination. But most of us are not willing to go there. And so, for real, most of us are just going to show up and get a check. Like, you can tell yourself, volunteering for AmeriCorps that you're helping and contributing to society, but you ain't. Like most of the people working out there in life are going to work in some BS job. So you might as well do a BS job that you like have fun doing, that engages you, that like actually can help individuals on a small scale, businesses, etc., and also pays you well. That's what copywriting is. You're not going to cure leprosy, but you might be able to put out a charity mailer that helps raise money for lepers.
Yeah.
Most people can't do that.
Yeah. Nice.
So how do you guys feel about handwriting proven ads as a learning method for noobs?
Can I give just a one-line answer to this one?
Please.
Do it if you want to. It's more useful because it proves that you can stick to something that you want to do and you want to get better at copywriting. I'm not necessarily convinced by the psychological argument for it. It just means you're going to sit down, write copy, and analyze it as you go because you want to have this as a career. It's your choice. That's it. I don't think we need to say anything else, unless you guys want to. I also realized we have 2 minutes left till we said the cutoff point is, and we are at 8:40 in the time of question asking.
Oh man, goodness gracious! Lightning round. Given you where are you all now? What advice would you give to yourselves in your second year of copywriting?
Second year? That's so specific. Say yes to more things.
My advice would be do more of what works.
Plus one on say yes to more things, but also do more for the things you say yes to.
Spin. A little bit of spin on it.
He is the spin master of us.
This whole thing.
Why is it so much easier to write copy for others than your own stuff?
Ooh, I don't agree with that. For me, I way prefer writing copy for my own. Oh, do you mean yourself as a copywriter? When I'm building a product, I find it way easier to write copy for that because I know what I'm going into it for. I don't know why that's the case though. For
the answer is curse of knowledge. You know too much about yourself. If you're writing for a product, you're like, okay, you're looking for specific things, but you haven't done that to yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
I also think being that critical about yourself and your experience and what you're really bringing to the table can be an uncomfortable task. And so even when we're trying to do that, we might end up shying away from it in a variety of ways.
Awesome.
What does it mean to design emails? It is just words.
I like that question.
Found the person who hasn't signed up to enough emails yet.
Yes, go and do some e-commerce lists. You'll see graphics.
Let's see. Okay. On your 5-hour copywriting course, you mentioned that copywriting in and of itself is not going to guarantee sales because there are other areas that contribute as well. How do you make sure that your copy doesn't get nullified because of the ineffectiveness of other areas?
It's a good question. It's a big question. If you're just a copywriter, that there isn't a way that you can make sure it doesn't because it's not your responsibility.
Yep.
If you do have responsibility over those things, then make sure you get good at marketing strategy and targeting the things that predominantly relate to it.
Yeah, we have a whole video on like things that you have no control over that can kill your copy.
Yeah, a marketing strategy as well. We got a whole video about that.
Yeah, and like we'll be real for a second. In this world, in copywriting, it's an any given Sunday thing. There's just some stuff that you have no control over. And some of it's just random. You just have to be okay with that to succeed in this business.
Cool.
Alex, do you need to go sleep? My precious child, my baby boy, my sweet summer child.
I probably do, but this question, I'm just scrolling through. I feel so bad not getting to all these questions, and there's so many fun ones.
I'm comfortable saying, at least for the questions that people have for me specifically, if you go onto our Discord, which should be in the link of this video or the description of this video, if you are not already in it, just tag me. I'll try to answer your questions. Probably not this second because I do need to go back to work, but I will get to your questions, answer them because it's probably worth answering if you took the time to come here to ask it.
Can we just do like another Q&A stream? Is there a way we can save all of these questions and do another Q&A stream? Or is that too much?
Because then people will ask more questions at the next Q&A, and then they
won't do that.
More Q&As, and then
Not if we ask nicely.
Please
don't ask any questions.
Don't ask any questions.
This is a Q&A, but it's really just A. This is an A. Please. I'll stay for a few more minutes, so we'll see if we get any other fun ones.
All right. What practices or exercises do you suggest for improving storytelling abilities within copywriting? Reading lots of stories and like seeing how they're structured.
Yep.
All right. More lightning round stuff. Let's see. What are the most important metrics an acquisition strategist might learn to interpret? Oh, cost per acquisition for sure.
Yeah.
CAC. Like, how much money are you spending to get one paying customer? If you do not know that number, you're a bad acquisition strategist.
LTV as well. Firstly, how is your company defining LTV? Because there are a few ways. Is it by like just forever in terms of general time, or is it you put a cutoff on the average amount of spend cycles that someone has with you? First of all, understand that. If there is no definition yet, make one. I suggest just looking at the average amount that people spend with you and assuming that is the over forever, and that is the LTV, and make sure your CAC ideally is lower than that, unless you're using it, to break even and then earn money on the back end. But just know what you're actually trying to do when people get in.
Should a portfolio consist of both direct response and brand copy?
No. I mean, it depends on what you want to do, but probably what you want to do is either one or the other. So just pick one. For most people who are freelance, you're going to be doing direct response. So I would focus on just direct response. And to be honest, it's going to be a little bit easier to do direct response. You can't hear this, but this person was going off a second ago on the piano. It was actually like I was at a fucking concert. It was crazy. I don't know who it was, but
oh god, that was a real piano.
No, that's a real person. There's a fucking
god damn,
piano
that's cool.
on the floor below me, and yeah, it's wild. Anyway,
I'm working in a place that has live concerts every day.
it's
Such a
it's
dick.
actually terrible because the building is really open. It's no matter where you are, you can just hear it. And so there'll be days where I'm trying to work.
I'm trying to stream
band playing in the office, and I'm like, how am I supposed to focus on making you money? And the answer is I don't. Yeah. So.
Oh, I was going to answer this. Your portfolio, if you want to work in either brand or direct response, your portfolio should be catered to whom you were trying to apply to. Your portfolio is proof that you can do what you say you can do. That's it. That's the whole purpose of a portfolio. If you're trying to prove to a direct response company that you can also write a billboard, they're not going to care. So why would you include it? So that's my answer to that.
And that's the case for any job you apply to in any field whatsoever. Your resume, your CV should always be tailored to that position, not to who you are.
Yeah. I want to highlight this comment from Paul. You know, we've known Paul for a long time in the CC. I've met him once in person. Yeah, and he wanted to thank us for our help on his copywriting journey. He landed a full-time job after 1 year of active freelancing. And he's been crushing it. He's doing great. So
well done, Paul.
Tyson 4D says, "Hey, what's up? Technically a question. What is up? We streaming."
The feeling.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Woo.
I mean, considering how many more subscribers he has than us, I really appreciate the charity from this gentleman. So
It's Canadian dollars, actually. Nah.
Oh,
that's not money. That's not money.
You know, donate in real money next time.
No, we love Canadians. We know many Canadians. Laurie and John are two of my favorite people. Oh yeah, we know people from Quebec.
That's it.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, right. We don't know Canadians. Cody.
Let's see.
He's also Canadian.
He immigrated though, so he's on his way to becoming an American.
That is true.
Let's see. When looking at a business, how do I know what to help them with? How do I identify what the business is doing wrong? Oh, we've already answered this. He's just asked it several times. We got a few repeats. Yeah, I think we have a new one. If you guys have a chance to be a digital nomad, would you be able to maintain your copywriting lifestyle? For example, Sean reads a lot of PhD textbooks in finance. Travel may cause distractions. I've tried the digital nomad thing. It's very hard, and I don't recommend it. It kind of sucks, actually. So
there's no way I'd be able to maintain what I'm doing right now as a digital nomad. No way. I need to be in an office. I need to be managing teams and making sure that campaigns get off on time. I don't like doing that from working from home or from not being there. Personally, I could be a digital nomad and wind that stuff back and just focus on a few big jobs here and there, but I'm not at that stage in my life yet where I want to do that.
I think it can work if your job is really just to write shit and you don't have to collaborate with a lot of people. But what I've found is that the more your job relies on you having up-to-date information, the more it relies on you having to talk to other people, integrate with other teams, particularly if the people you're working with are not millennials or Gen Z or whatever, it's going to be really hard because you're always going to be out of the loop on something. And even working with lots of millennials and younger tech-savvy people, it is always faster and more efficient and easier for me to walk up to someone's desk and have a 20-second conversation with them than go back and forth on email 3 times trying to politely ask for some sort of information. It's just infinitely easier. And so it's not bad to, be living in Thailand doing whatever, but if your goal is to travel and be enjoying whatever, it's going to be hard to have a higher level job where you're going to be responsible for important things. That's not to say you can't do it. Plenty of people do, but it's just, there's a reason most people still go in the office a couple of days a week.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's it is doable. it just ain't for me, you know? And like for most people, it's not going to be very practical. But it's a lifestyle that people have in their head as a thing that they desire. You know, do you try it out. And if you can make it work, make it work. If not, that's the deck. That's the hand that life has dealt you. So, how critical is a portfolio when starting out? If truly necessary, how in depth should one go?
It's most important when you're starting out. And if it is truly necessary, and you should have at least 3 pieces of well-polished copy. And more importantly, you should be able to describe exactly your thought process that went into creating it, the reasons why you made decisions you made it in your copy, and the situations in which you would recommend a business use that type of copy. If you can do those things, 3 things, 4 things, you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex, after you.
I was going to say, if you... I don't think it's absolutely 100% necessary for every single client that you're going to be pitching to. Like, I actually have not been asked for a portfolio much in my freelance things. It helps if you know what you're going to be pitching to, you know the niches that you want to facilitate around. It's good to practice in those and just to have them, just to kind of just say, hey, by the way, here's a few examples if you want to see them. An audit is always, like a Loom audit or something that I mentioned earlier, has always been more reliable for me because you're almost proving in real time, like, hey, I actually know what I'm talking about. But it's good for practice. And yeah, I don't know. I think the longer I went on with freelance, the more I felt like portfolios weren't needed as much. But also, Rod, you work in a very different space to the one that I was working in. You work in a space where if you turn up and you don't have a portfolio, they're going to say, so why are you here?
Yeah. I was actually thinking more like in that freelancer space. Obviously, when you're pitching people, you're not usually pitching with a portfolio, but like the more experienced you are, if you're like, oh yeah, I've worked with NBC, I've worked with ESPN, I've worked with whoever, big name, I've worked with Grant Cardone, being able to name drop working with people like that, you can kind of network your way into a lot of positions the higher up you are. And so when you're starting out, when you don't have any of that leverage to get into a job, my thinking is more so being able to say, hey, I get it. I understand how this business works. I understand how to apply this work, and here's some examples of good quality work is going to be when that's most beneficial to your career. But I agree that like that's not necessarily what you lead with every single time.
Yeah, it's good as proof, and I think I still recommend people make one in areas they're interested in, just because it forces you to write copy.
Yeah, that's where I kind of land on it too, which is like when you're starting out, you're trying to sell yourself. You have to treat your outreach, your job applications as copy. And what does copy need? You need to prove that the product can do what you say it's capable of doing. For most newbies, that comes in the form of the portfolio, especially if you don't have any work experience. What Rod mentioned, like, hey, I've worked for Grant Cardone. That's social proof. That can stand instead of a portfolio because it proves that you can do what you can do or say that you can do. So that's the whole point of it. So how critical is that proof? I'd say proof is pretty critical, but does it need to be a portfolio? No. Any advice on learning more efficiently and retaining more information? I forget a lot.
Sleep more,
drink more water, and write stuff down. Like if you learn an insight,
notebooks.
Write it down and then review your notes.
I love notebooks.
Yeah, same. Let's see. We're plugging along. There's a lot of compliments on Rod. Rod looks fresh AF.
This is fly.
Rod looks really good.
What happened?
If we keep going at this pace, I can probably stay till the end.
Oh, I did promise that I was going to go through the steps to become a copywriter in 2024. We never really did get to that, though. Oh, man. Oh, no. I'm a grifter.
You promised something and you didn't
promised
deliver
something
it, Sean.
and didn't deliver. Shit. Here are the steps to become a copywriter in 2024. Very quick.
God damn.
2 hours, 43 minutes into the stream. Let's go.
Your first week, learn the theory. Watch our videos. Watch other people's videos. Just learn from everybody that you can. Get all the theory in your head. Make a lot of notes about like what this even is, what this even entails. Then in your second week and for the next 4 weeks, you are going to look at and absorb and annotate as much copy as humanly possible. Like, yeah, you're going to be doing the daily practice of, reading a piece of copy per day, writing a page of copy per day, writing out an idea per day. And you're going to take the time also during your days to like upskill, watch YouTube videos, read books, things like that. I would recommend starting with Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins because it's free, it's in the public domain, and it's easy to get a hold of, and it gives you the basics of the theory that you need to know, even if it's a little dated. Update some of the language to be applicable to now. So first week, pure theory. Second through fifth week, all just studying copy every single day. Follow the link down in the description. And then once you get into week 6 or so, you're going to start breaking up your time and spending a lot more time. And I would say you should do this as a crossfader. Like starting in week 2, what you should start doing is spending at least 25% of your day researching businesses that you might want to write for and understanding 2 things: how they get customers and how they make money. And if you ask of these businesses how they do that every single time you look at a business and think about it critically, you're going to eventually learn a few things. 1, where you can fit into that marketing equation, and 2, what you can get paid for from other businesses. And then after those 5 weeks of doing nothing but just slamming information into your brain, you are going to do several things. You're going to set up an Upwork profile. You are going to start like building a list of possible contacts, not only online, but also of local businesses. And then you are going to spend a quarter of your work time per day trying to get jobs through Upwork or Fiverr, or through cold outreach, or through inbound, like actually setting up a website with a portfolio on it that you advertise to businesses on LinkedIn. Any way you want to do it, you're going to spend a quarter of your time doing that. And the rest of that time, that 75%, is spent getting better at writing copy. That's how you become a copywriter in 2024.
And we have a lot of videos to support all those things. If you search through the channel, like if you want to look, okay, well, how do I do a bright portfolio? How do I find clients? Like just search those things on a channel, like clients, portfolio, etc., etc. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. The one thing you do not want to do, though, is watch our How to Become a Copywriter in 2023 video, because all of that information is completely outdated.
It's totally changed.
Everything that applied to 2023 no longer applies to 2024. And if you are wondering, wait, are you kidding? Yes, I'm kidding. Everything that we said in 2023 still applies to this year.
Apart from the year. It's not 2023 now.
True. It is not a 3 anymore. It is now a 4. All right. People are mentioning the boot camp. This is how far back. Somebody asked what happened to Luke. He's doing his own thing now. Let's see. People have talked about running a Facebook group. Something about imposter syndrome. Let's see. I'm not seeing a whole lot more questions. We can kind of just...
that's cool.
We got up to the point where Lindsay left.
Oh, well, could they know she's the brain behind this? So they're like, what's the point in asking more questions?
There you go. There's a question. Oh. You can do it. You're good, Beach Life. You can still be a copywriter.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
I have had a 50... I'm going to forget the exact age now. 50-something-year-old this was like a year ago now, but message me and out of the blue and just say like, hey, because of your guys' videos, like I've now started freelancing. It's awesome. So yes, 100%.
Yeah, lots of jobs like this, but copywriting specifically, I think, is something that lends itself to people who have life experience.
Oh, it's easier if you're older because people respect you more as well.
Yeah, and like it's funny because our audience does skew younger, but one of the things you notice in copy and just writing of people who haven't lived a ton of life is that it is filled with like notions and perceptions of the way things are that does not reflect what their readers often have experienced, and so kind of falls flat or is just awkward. And so being someone who's seen a lot of stuff, who has interacted with lots of different kinds of people, can make the job easier in a lot of ways. So
yeah, like if I had a choice, like portfolio is totally equal, writing quality is totally equal. between hiring a 17-year-old or a 42-year-old, I'm going to pick the 42-year-old every single time. Every single time.
Yeah, like professionalism, knowing how to like interact with other coworkers, be a good team player, not having a huge ego. Like, that's not to say if you're younger you can't do well and you can't do any of those things, but just like on average, the kinds of things that are important in work that are not that literal work itself, an older person's going to be better at.
Yeah, like listen, like the moment somebody says the word Riz, like I immediately they're disqualified from ever working for me.
This is the first year, right? That like, and this proves how little I use social media and how much I probably should be more in touch with culture. It's the first year where the word of the year I've been like, I have not heard that once.
Was that the word of the year?
Yeah, Riz was the word of the year according to, I don't know, maybe Time or Forbes or something.
God.
But I was just like, I don't even know what that is, and I was like, this is the first year I felt out of touch and I felt old. And I was like, that's depressing.
To your mid-20s, buddy.
I am going to be 24 in like 2 months. I'm like, oh shit, it's no longer impressive. Up till now, it's been impressive. People go, oh, you're young. Now it's just like, oh yeah, you're an adult. Like, why aren't you yet like a multi-millionaire? You know. So, yeah.
Kelly gets it.
Lots
That's
of
good.
Manner. So Connor and I actually used to work together at Agora Financial. Connor's a really good dude. I bought him chicken tenders once, and it went to the wrong address because I have ADHD and I'm really bad with stuff like that.
Someone just got chicken tenders.
So he was waiting for tenders that never came.
Yeah, no, for real. I Uber Eats chicken tenders, and I put in his address wrong because I'm an idiot, and it went to the wrong house.
I wonder if that person ate them.
I hope they did.
Who the fuck is Sean?
Favorite promo of 2023 for sure was Porter's God's Investment. I love that promo. It didn't do the best, but I loved that promo. And I love because here's why I loved it. It tried something that was old but new again. Like nobody's done a biblical promo related to finance in a long time. It used to be very common. It ain't common no more. So what I really enjoy are people sort of like pulling out the old strategies and angles and tactics and like dusting them off and trying them again. I love that. And I love that they did that. So let's see. 1 year mentorship program for $41,021.50.
Okay.
I think we should have a 1 year mentorship program that charges $41,021.49.
The psychological break is there.
Yeah.
There's a 0 that wants to be a 9.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, like depends what you get from it, I suppose. Hey, if someone's going to pay me that, no, I won't mentor them for a year. No, that's crazy. We had trouble mentoring for like 2 weeks.
We talked to her for longer than that.
Yeah. Like I'm dreading like because I've been talking to Kara on the CC about starting the boot camp thing and doing a month-long boot camp with her. And I'm already like, God, but do I really want to do this? And like, do I really want to charge enough to make it worth my while and like justify my time? And then also, but I'm going back and forth because I'm all like, but the lessons that I make for it, we can put onto the Patreon. So like we have this constant influx of like new material for that. And like, I can sell the recordings and like,
yeah, it's
time is precious.
It is.
I think the model where you do it once or like every once in a while, and then you monetize the byproducts, as we used to say, every fucking day.
Yeah.
Probably makes the most sense as opposed to having it just be like a constantly running thing.
Yeah, it's hard though. Like, I've just started playing Baldur's Gate, which is awesome, by the way. Which I know I'm like 6 months behind on this, but like it's really good. And it's the first video game I've played in quite a while, and it's just made me go like, oh my god, yeah, I should be cutting out more time for this.
Yeah. No, legit, like, Kaylee's been sick, and so last night, straight up, it was just me on my laptop, her on her laptop, my daughter watching Bluey, like, my baby, like, sleeping, and my wife and I just playing Baldur's Gate 3 next to each other. It's so good. It's so good, isn't it? Like, it's wonderful.
And this is how I put it, it feels like a game. Like it feels like I did when I was a kid.
Yes.
You know, like it just feels like, oh my god, I'm so enthralled.
It's not a Souls-like. It's actually fun.
No, and you can play it like super easy. I love Souls as well. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I just want to know what's happening. The opening sequence, I was just immediately like, I want to know who the big tentacle guys are. I want to know what that was in my eye. I want to know where we're going. Like, I want to know this world.
Story and like,
yeah.
So far I've rolled 3 characters, and like I feel like I've been playing a different game each time.
That's great.
I haven't gotten past Act 1 for any of these characters.
You're not a commitment guy. You got to finish a story, dude.
But now I'm discovering that there's so many other stories. There's literally so many stories in this one story. It's really good.
I killed one of the main characters as well, and I was like, oh god. And then they're just like, they're gone.
Here was the moment when I learned that Baldur's Gate 3 was the game for me. There's a moment, like a really severe, like dramatic story moment. I lied. I actually got into the beginning of Act 2 for one of my playthroughs. And like, there's a moment where like, in any other game, the game would have just said, game over. Like, there's a really important person that everyone's like, you need to go talk to this person. You need to do this thing. Like, this thing needs to happen. And like, there's a whole big mission built around it. And then this dude with wings swoops in with some ghouls and is like, no, I'm going to fuck your shit up. And you have to fight him. And I failed. Like, this quest, I just failed it. And the game kept going.
That's awesome.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, what? Why are you still going on, game?
I've changed the fate of this story.
The whole arc of the story that I thought had in my head was now completely derailed. And like life, this game just kept going. It was so good.
Cool. Okay, that was not a copyright question, but yeah, Baldur's Gate. I don't even know why we said that, but yeah.
Yeah. I'll shill Baldur's Gate 3 any time of the day.
Yeah.
What is even the best way to find companies you want to work for?
What, do you have an existing interest in any companies? I.e., do you like a particular industry or niche? If you do, then go for that. If you don't, then start locally. Have a look at what businesses are around you, because it's as good a place to start as any. Those are really the only 2 ways to start. Then after that, just try pitching to them. Often you don't know if it's a good company to work for until you've pitched them and seen if they're open to pitches. Like, there is no perfect way to tell. So yeah, but
and
trust me.
Sorry, I was going to add. Also, if you have work experience in an industry, even if it's not copywriting for the industry, that can get you a good start.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
absolutely. No, like many of the best copywriters that I know had some experience with a business and then went on to do marketing for that business. And so it wasn't like a dramatic leap. It was just a sort of like, oh, like I can sell the stuff that I've been doing. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Oh, a question for Rod.
Ooh. Hey, Rod, in your financial copy adventures, you mentioned that freelance financial copywriting was hard. So what was your end goal you had to finish this? Or how do you finish that series? Email, advertorial, financial copywriter. So the end goal before I got a job was to actually just apply for jobs at financial publishers to see what that process was like. Could I actually get a job? Had I gotten a job, I probably wouldn't have kept doing this series, but I could have just started working on one of them, I suppose. That would have been interesting.
That would have been a very different life arc.
Then it would have been 3 financial copywriters ganging up on you, Alex.
Actually, yeah, I'm so glad you didn't do that, because at least now there's a split. Like, there's a fracture.
Well, now we have 3 direct response copywriters.
That's another way to
brand guy, and so
yeah. Or there's 3 guys on.
Alex straddles. He's
straddle.
It's not straddle.
Yeah. I straddle the worlds. You know what it's like though? It's like Baldur's Gate 3. You made a decision, you've changed the whole lot. It just kept going. It didn't finish.
It's true. It's true.
It's like it's based on real life or something. It's weird. Games.
Put aside the laws. How to counter the argument that a 16-year-old probably doesn't understand marketing or is not good? Your portfolio. That's the best. Like, Yeah. Hey, let me unzip my pants and whip out onto the table my portfolio.
Yep. And
There
Paul
you
straight
go.
back with it.
Paul, thank you very much. Let's see. How do you find businesses to work for or pitch to?
Done that one.
After that,
Do you think it's easier to get a job writing emails or writing ads? Well, the ads are the emails.
Assume you
all
mean.
ads.
it's like
I assume you mean
banner ads or
PPC
Facebook ads
or something like that. Yeah. I don't even.
Easier.
I don't
That's
even
a hard
know.
question.
It's
I
probably,
don't know.
I don't think I can answer that.
Yeah. I do not know enough. That's my answer.
Do you think more? I would guess more businesses run PPC than have emails.
I would agree.
More businesses understand the value of PPC because that's what they see advertising as. They don't necessarily understand how emails can make you more. So probably PPC. I can't really say though. That wasn't how I went at it. I didn't go like, oh, I'm going to test going for an email writing job versus an ad writing job. I just looked at what was bad and said, I can improve this.
This is another example of us trying to answer a question that should not have been asked in the first place. You know, the what is easier question, that's not the question that you want to be answering. You want to look for the kind of copy that you can excel at, where you can sell yourself to other people, regardless of how easy it is.
Where are you providing value?
Yeah.
And because here's the thing, and just to kind of explain why this is a strange question, is like there might be more companies that run PPC ads, but it might be easier. It's going to be hard, but it might be easier to write an effective email if you understand the principles of good email writing, which you can learn about on youtube.com/copy that. We got plenty of videos on that. Mm-hmm. But even so, that sort of calculation is going to be really difficult. It's going to vary from person to person. It's going to vary on like, do people respond to your cold emails when you're trying to get these jobs or whatever? Like, it's just so many things go into this that it doesn't matter. Just pick one and start trying, because your odds of having success are going to just be higher wherever you're putting your efforts.
We're almost done, actually. We're almost done like getting through all of the questions. Wow. Is the stream getting posted afterwards? The answer is yes.
In the live tab on... Oh, I can actually do it. Hang on. Yes. If you go to the live tab on the YouTube channel, it'll be there. Cool. Next.
Alex, what e-commerce email lists do you recommend?
Ooh, I do. I have several. One, get on either, now they're both quite good, Walmart or Target. Get on their email list. The way you can literally just... I think Target has an email list button on the website, and I think Walmart, I think you have to join to get a voucher kind of thing, like coupons. You don't have to pay anything, just subscribe. It's like it'll be a box somewhere. Because that's super interesting, and they do really good like urgency, scarcity, like offer, graphic design in emails of it just shows you like, okay, it core e-commerce, like what is it that they can do when they're trying to shift loads of product lines. Go and sign up for that. I like, if you want good email design in terms of graphics, which a lot of people I found when they ask this question is what they're asking for, I would go and subscribe to Gymshark. They do a lot of great stuff. In terms of good copy who really understand their audience, BarkBox is one of my absolute favorites. I actually think BarkBox is the one that I went through on when I first came on Copy That, like 3 years ago. Yeah. And to this day, I still rate them. They're really high. Anything else that I would absolutely recommend you get on? I would recommend getting on companies, not necessarily just this one, but like Snow, who do teeth whitening. One, because they understand good marketing anyway, and also it's a highly problem or functional, I would call it, but problem-based product, where i.e. I'm not happy with my teeth, the color of my teeth, I want to get them whitened. They drive hard into different kinds of how you would frame that problem in different ways, and how you connect with an audience on that. But not, I wouldn't just limit it to like teeth whitening. Also look at weight loss programs. Sorry, not programs. Injections, like weight loss injection email lists, because they have to do like a consultation to get the product. Anything where it's like self-improvement through a physical product, i.e. like I can't remember what it's called. Bionic Gym. They do really good stuff as well. Where it's like a thing that vibrates and you just put it on your kind of like your abs and your thighs, and you meant to lose weight. They have really good emails too. Hopefully that's a list to get you started, but there's so many e-com companies. Like there's just so, it's not even like finance or health where you can just get like a list of, you know, like 60 or whatever and just say, here's basically all of them. There's so many e-com companies. That's where I would start.
I want to add uncommon goods to that list because unlike everything that he just listed, uncommon goods is a sort of like aggregator of like really weird niche e-com products. Cool. Their emails are pretty good.
I haven't heard of them.
How do I get 60 new ideas for scripts a month?
What? Think of 60 things.
Yeah.
2 a day.
Yeah. 2 a day, but I'm going to say 3 a day so that you actually have 10 days to write these. Okay. Here's how to break this down. 20 of those ideas are going to be what has worked before, but refreshed or with a new spin on it. There you go. So what you do is you look at what has worked in the past, you refresh those, and that's a new idea, new spin. So that's 1/3 of them out of there. The other 20, you are going to look at other videos and say, what can I do to take that in that niche and apply it to what I'm doing? And then you do that. The other 20 are going to be buck fucking wild. Shit that you just came off the top of your dome. You're just like, oh my God, this is the wackiest, weirdest, stupidest idea that I've ever put to page, but I'm going to test it because I have 60 script ideas that I need to write.
I agree. I think that's a great breakdown. I also just want to go back to the e-com question really quickly, just because I've looked at my screen and realized Displate. Go subscribe to Displate as well. That's these like metal posters I have up. They do super good. One, they look quite nice, but number two is they do super good seasonal and offer emails, like discount emails. They, I would argue, are the masters of like the bundle offer and the discounts in kind of classic e-com. So go have a look at them. All right, sorry, just reminded me.
How do I know the best formula or strategy for a particular project?
Oh, if you're talking about marketing strategy, or is this copywriting? I don't know.
Strategy, probably.
Like, I did a whole course on this for Copy That called The Unique Guide to... No, what is it? The Ultimate Guide to Marketing Strategy.
It is unique, though.
Sean and Lindsay... Link in the description. Sean and Lindsay also, they did a video for that in which they like broke down every kind of channel possible in marketing. I did a conceptual kind of abstract video. I was like, okay, here's how I actually think about marketing strategy, and here's how I break it down. That's not free like that, but we did a live stream alongside that, which if you go to the YouTube channel, go to the live tab, there's like and type in marketing strategy or marketing, it'll come up where I kind of break down a version of that. So that's how I recommend marketing strategy.
Has a copy chief ever asked me to write an outline of a big idea and bullets to support it? How would you nail that down? Never been asked that before. They usually just tell me the promo. What I would do for this is I would write down the ordinary idea. And an ordinary idea typically is the mechanism and an outcome. And the mechanism is how the product works. And the outcome is what the product does, like the benefits it confers. And the big idea is some sort of transubstantiation or transformation, a metaphorical application of that. So, for example, if you are saying, hey, this supplement suppresses your cortisol levels, which helps promote fat loss, you could transubstantiate that into the big idea called a fat-burning reset switch. There you go. That's your big idea for that. Another example, say the mechanism is unilateral strength training, which produces the outcome of you getting fucking jacked, like just jacked to the tits. Like then your transubstantiation, your big idea for that could be Scottish Strong. Why Scottish Strong? Because their whole culture, every aspect of Scottish culture is built around them lifting the dunny stones, which is entirely based on asymmetrically weighted or loaded unilateral training. So you got to train to lift the dunny stones or whatever the hell they're called. Then your bullets are going to be either an outline of like, okay, what's in it for me? What's the credibility? Why is this the best thing ever? Why does a customer like totally need this? And you just go like, what are the biggest proof points? What are the biggest cred points? And you just sort of like outline the list in a way that sort of makes sense. And then you sort of like add stuff to the offer in a way that overcomes objections that people would naturally have to that offer. So for example, if the offer is like a book about unilateral training called Scottish Strong, then one of the bonuses might be, I don't know, some resistance training bands, or like a gift guide, or like a set of like recommended equipment, things like that, like with affiliate links. Of course, naturally, you're a marketer. So that's how I would approach it. I would just like break it down in that very systematic way.
Okay.
I should probably do a video about like long form direct response offers, huh?
I think you should. I think you should do a whole series on long form.
God damn it. I
Financial.
don't want to. Kyle's stuff is better.
You could call it an adventure. I think that makes
I
it better.
could.
God,
but I'm not going to.
let's all have unfinished adventures. It's like Sean's
Adventures of
Baldur's Gate.
That would be the compilation book, the anthology.
It's one of those things where I avoid talking about long form direct response, because my whole method and process for long form direct response is I have none. Yeah. It's very, I'm a gardener. I'm not an architect. Kyle Milligan, my friend of the show, Kyle Milligan, he's an architect. He's all about like, this thing that every promo needs, it's going to be called this thing, the long dark night of the soul or whatever that he got from Save the Cat. He's going to call this the force of nature. He's going to call it, he comes up with like, okay, every promo needs this. Then he comes up with a novel label for it called this. And I'm just like, man, I don't write that way. I just come up with stuff that works and that feels good and makes sense in a given context. And every promo is different, so everything would have to be different naturally. That's how I write. So, how's the new year?
Busy.
None of your business.
Okay, or none of your busyness.
But because it's a business, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, really quick, because everybody's tired and we got to go and we're losing our minds. Is there a place that just has pages and pages of good copy to sit and read through? Yes.
Yes.
Swiped.co, I think.
Yep. Swiped.co. SWIPED.co.
Yeah. But I would recommend going to the Facebook ad library or the Google Ad Transparency Center and like just look at what ads have been recycled over and over again, and then look at their funnel, because you know that they're working. Should we do copy for social media at the start of our careers, and how does that generally work if you should?
You should do copy for anything that pays you money and make sure the client is happy with it. How it works is the same as any other kind of copy. If you can get social media copy, and the client sets you a brief, then you do it to that brief. Totally depends on what the social media copy is for.
Yeah, I'd say
there is no should though.
I'd say definitely do ads write copy for ads on social media, but don't just do social media posts, because a lot of those are just like vanity posts with no CTAs and aren't going to teach you a ton or give you useful information about how well you've done.
Yeah, I have an aversion to social media copy.
I also we've spoke one of the many things we've bonded over is our disdain for social media marketers, even though we love them.
We should
really.
We should do a whole video on like how to do social media marketing but good.
We should, because like when I say that, I'm using broad strokes. Of course, social media is important, and of course, social media marketers are important. But like most of them aren't, because of the way they approach it, and I hate the time and money that's wasted on them by companies, especially companies that you are working with, and you just want to say, stop spending time on social media. Like no one's reading your Facebook posts. But we'll do a video on that.
We'll do a whole video on it. When it comes to outreaching, should I grow my platform page, for example, my Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on?
I never did.
I
did fine outreach, so I don't think you need to.
Some people are all about this, because they associate clout with cred, but it ain't. Like, so the best copywriters that I personally know that make the most money have zero social media presence. And so you gotta look at, like, it's one of those things where it's like, if Bill Gates is clearly doing this thing and like all the other billionaires are doing this thing that makes them successful, are you going to do the thing that seems to have no bearing whatsoever on their success? Probably not. You know?
Yeah, agree.
If you're a social media marketer, hell frickin' yes, you should grow your Insta. But if not, who cares?
I know people who work in social media marketing who control hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of dollars in budgets. They don't have big social media followings because it's not related to who they are as a person. If you want to, like, I think for the vast majority of businesses, they're not going to care. They might care about your work history, but they're not going to look at your personal Instagram page and be like, oh, well, this person doesn't have 100,000 followers posting about their dog, therefore they're going to be a trash marketer. Like, yeah, I think there's a very specific kind of like clout focused influencer type person who might care about that, but you don't need to go after that person, and that person is not going to be the vast majority of the prospects you want. So,
yeah. So I know for a fact that other gurus disagree with that, but that's where I agree with what you guys have said. I'm glad we're all in alignment on that.
Yeah, I got one more thing on that is like, because I've seen that advice and I've seen like the communities of people who like will follow that advice and they're like, oh, how do I get a following on Instagram? So when I reach out, like whatever, and like the kinds of posts those people make is like, oh, here's copywriting advice, XOXO, whatever. And when I read those posts as another copywriter who understands and cares about like these concepts, I'm like, this is very basic advice. This is not tailored towards like if I owned a business and I was looking at this, I'd be like, why is this on your Instagram? This doesn't make sense here. So unless you're trying to sell copywriting information or copywriting career advice to other copywriters, I don't see the point.
Yeah. Yes. The people that I frequently see pushing that advice are the people that are selling copywriting advice, typically to children. You know? So there's that. Do you think it's worth focusing on one type of copy, like emails, first before moving on to other types when you're learning? Or would that limit me too much?
I don't think you need to focus on a specific type while you're learning. Good copy is good copy, whatever medium it's in. There are slight nuances you need to understand, i.e. like what is the medium doing, and like how to write subject lines for emails, because you can't just write great email copy and not pay attention to the thing that people are going to open it with. But no, I don't think you need to learn one specific type before moving on to something else.
Yeah.
Learn the principles and then apply them to the mediums.
Yeah, the only practical advantage of learning email first is that they're shorter. That's it.
Yeah.
But this is very much an all roads lead to Rome sort of business, where it's like, it doesn't really matter much what you do, so long as you're constantly learning and growing.
Agreed.
Do your Loom audits get sent via cold email?
Yes, I usually used to send them by cold email first, like if I had the person's email address, but it would just go to whatever I had them on, wherever I knew they were. So if I knew they were on LinkedIn and I knew their profile, Facebook, email, WhatsApp, whatever, I would just send it through there. And then if they didn't reply to that, because you also need to write some copy with that, just saying like, hey, saw this on your thing, recorded a short video, have a look. The thumbnail should do a lot of work. Yeah, send them anywhere and everywhere that you can, because they might not see it, and it gives you more access, channels of access to them.
There are some other questions, but I think Paul brings up a good point.
Yeah, I feel like that comment probably came about 15 minutes ago.
It did.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, it did. Oh no. Okay, you're right. So come on, let's lightning round these. We can do it.
Well, there's only really one big question left. So it's this one, which is, I have extensive experience in the motor trade. I want to run and jump with copy for the motor trade. Is providing free value a good strategy for the copywriting? Some more context coming. Free value as in showing how you are going to help them, creating an email sales ad for them, Facebook ads, thoughts.
Yes.
I'm currently working as a sales exec for a company in the Northeast. I want to go to the company director and present some ideas. Any tips for reaching out to the company director? I'd imagine just show the value of the offer, the email list campaigns or promotional ads. It keeps going. Should I approach him with a PowerPoint or a talk? Oh, it keeps going. Traditionally, I would present a sales pitch verbally. I've never done any sales with a PowerPoint or sales doc. Thank you guys. Good night.
That was a great question.
It is a good question.
Okay.
Well,
yes, you can provide free value for sure. It's a good idea that you're starting an industry you already have experience with, and I would absolutely mention that because that gives you a lot of clout. So definitely mention that.
It's internal too, so he knows everybody.
Exactly. Going to a company director, I don't know how big the company is. Don't know like what direct control that he has over marketing, etc. I'm assuming that they. I don't actually know if he said if they do, but I think that if you know the person already, or if you know that they have a vested interest in the company growing, then no one's ever going to be annoyed at you for saying, hey, like I've worked doing this for a while. I actually have some new ideas that I think could generate us more revenue. Since I know my job's sales, but this is more money coming in. I wanted to seek your advice on it to see what you thought. Especially if you frame it like that, like I want to see what you think. I want to get your advice on what I'm thinking here. And then show like, I think we could spin up a new department or a new role, or like we can make more money if I focused a bit on this. How about you let me do it for a trial run or whatever? I don't know what the person's like. You may know a better way to approach them, but yes, it's certainly a good idea. I don't think you need a PowerPoint. I think you can just talk to him about it or talk to them about it and then just see like, oh, it's him. Talk to him about it and just kind of have examples if you need them there. Like just show him like, hey, here's what I was thinking. It can start as an informal chat, if you can do that. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with him, rather than a formal pitch.
I would approach it as like a two-part conversation. So I think step one, you definitely don't need a PowerPoint, but just going up to them and being like, hey, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I, see some opportunity in our marketing, whatever. From my current position, I see these things happening, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. And I feel like we'd really benefit from whatever. And then kind of like trying to get from them, see if they have any initial pushback, see if they have some context you don't have for why those things don't currently exist or whatever. And if it seems like they could be receptive to continuing that conversation, be like, I put together this thing, or I've written some examples of like how I could see this coming to life. Could we schedule some time to sit down and like chat about some of these ideas? And maybe in that second conversation, being a little bit more direct in terms of saying like, I would love to transition into this role if there's space for it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I think realistically speaking, it can be difficult to just change jobs in the middle of nowhere because budgets are always going to be a real thing. And so they may not have a budget to hire a new copywriter, marketer, whatever the title is, or maybe they don't feel like they can afford to lose someone in sales at this point in time. And so moving you would require them to hire someone else in a different position, and so there's going to be cost to that. And so I think putting your interest out there is really, really important, but also keep in mind that it may not be an immediate thing where you pitch them and then that just happens. It could take some time for them to have some turnover or whatever, such that they're looking to hire someone, and then your name is at the top of the list. So, be transparent, make sure you're framing it for the benefit of the company, make sure you're talking about your interests and you're giving examples and stuff like that. Don't be adversarial, and also just be patient because it can be frustrating when you're going into a pitch thinking that something's going to happen immediately and it just can't happen like that. But it sounds like you have a good mindset about this. So I keep my fingers crossed for you.
Good advice.
All of that was great advice. I have nothing to add to that, aside from what Lindsay said earlier, which is like, if you can, like, invite your higher ups out for lunch. If you work for a company, try to invite higher ups and bosses and directors out for lunch. Pick their brain, express that you want to like learn from them, that you want to ask questions and like do sort of like preliminary interviews like of them to like become more valuable to the company. Because straight up, like, one, anybody who makes it to the C-suite or a directorial position is going to have an ego. They're going to be just a little bit narcissistic. And there's nothing that makes that person feel better than giving them an opportunity to like talk and share their knowledge. I mean, why the hell do you think we do this?
We all just want to talk about ourselves. That is a prime driving force.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I feel like that strategy of just asking people out to lunch or to like a drink after work it's not advertised often enough, and it's not talked about often enough, but it's very good advice.
It's relationship building. It's
Yeah.
the strongest currency you have in any organization.
Totally agree.
Yep. Guys, that was all of the questions.
It only took us an hour and a half over.
So tired.
Alex, do you feel like you're like, oh, we did it?
I'm so tired. I've also just like developed a headache in the last kind of hour. It's because I haven't eaten either. Well, that too. I've not eaten. I've been drinking water, so I might go and have some focaccia, because that's... Omni gave us 2 sad faces.
Oh no.
Why?
I've needed to pee for like the last hour. Like I'm hurting how bad I need to pee right now.
Oh, yo, Omni,
Then
we
let's
answered
keep
your
going.
question about getting a job way earlier in the stream. So if you just go back to the beginning, we talked about getting a job as a not 18
Oh, as a 17-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's hard in different countries. Do you guys exercise? I've started to more. I bought a barbell because I'm reading Starting Strength, which is interesting. Not any weights yet. Just wanted to test the posture and stuff, which is hard. And I've started running outside instead of on a treadmill, which is different.
Yeah, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it's way harder. My back hurts and shit. It's horrible.
That's what I'm anti-running. Like row, air bike, just walk with a weighted vest. Like that's all going to give you better benefits than a run.
But it's the pain. The pain is the point.
Just time to exercise, which is what I need to get better with. I've set out time for video games before I've set out time for proper exercise. I will do that.
Yep.
I'm gonna go.
Alex, Rod, this was lovely.
It's been
It's
lovely.
lovely.
At times it got a little wild and a little hairy, but we made it. We did a stream.
Woo!
Well, everybody who's watching, thank you very, very much for making it all the way through this. We appreciate you. There's no pitch. Like, yeah, we have stuff that you could buy, but like seriously, just sincerely from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for your get that out of here.
It's the pitch. It's free. They're already here. Subscribe to the channel.
You are amazing. Rod, you're amazing. Alex, you're amazing. I'm just kind of okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Lindsay's the best.
Huh?
Lindsay's the best.
And Lindsay is the best.
She is the best.
And
She actually
40,000
has good
subscribers.
time boundaries.
I forget that was what we did this for. 40,000 subscribers. Well done, guys, for 40,000 subscribers. It's cool. If 40,000 people, for at least a moment of their lives, have decided that this is worth watching.
Clicking a button. A single click of a button.
Have you ever got 40,000 people to click on one button? Yes. We have. Subscribe. I'm so tired.
Alex, go eat and sleep. Rod,
I'll do
go
that.
work for the rest of the day. Like, you're 3 hours behind me. So
Yeah. And
Right.
now 3.5 hours behind my work. But, no biggie.
All right. Good night, everyone.
we need to stream at different times, I guess. Jeez Louise.
That's fine. Still move to
Hey, guys.
Bye-bye.